Guess what, Michael?
What's up?
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
Like not right.
Not right
Now.
moment,
Not while we're
yes.
recording this, but I have to look at because I recorded some dojos earlier this week and recorded the Sunday one. It was just a man and I were super tired. We're playing this game. We were kind of semi-interested in it, but like. This is the day that my actual birthday is. So happy birthday to me.
To future Jeff.
Yeah, future Jeff. He's going to be hungover. Ooh.
He's going to be wasted.
Ooh, by the time this comes out, I'm going to be laying on the couch drinking Gatorade, praying for death. But it's not that time yet. No, now it is time for the RageSelect podcast. Here at RageSelect, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
And Michael, I was gonna watch something, and I didn't. They dumped that new Shazam movie out, and it was like, do you want to spend $20 to watch this new Shazam movie? And I was like, no. I liked the last one, but like, not really.
I wanted to, but then I had to do stuff.
Oh, but you know what? I do have a story, and it involves my butthole. All right. All right, yeah, here we go.
I don't know if anybody... I'm not going to stop them, guys.
Okay, so last week I ordered one of those tushy bidets. Those like strap-on. That's bad.
This whole thing has already started off horribly. He bought a strap-on, guys.
I bought
It's all about his butthole.
Okay, so... they sell these bidets. I don't know if anybody like knows these. I'm sure that it was like popular during the pandemic where people were like, oh, there's a toilet paper shortage. I'm going to buy a whole new butthole cleaning system. And it was like, guys, the shortage is not going to last for more than like 2 days, right? Like you're going to be able to find more toilet paper.
It lasted for a couple months.
It was okay. I don't spend a lot of time. I try not to, like hang out in the bathroom like Al Bundy. But I've been curious, and I bought one of those bidet add-ons, and then on Sunday I put it on my toilet, and then I broke my toilet while I was installing it.
Yes.
And so then on Monday I had to call a plumber, and that took like 3 days, and it cost like $250 for what was essentially 10 minutes worth of work. But like it was work where they had to turn off the water to my house. And I just didn't feel comfortable trying to do that by myself, because if it went very badly, then I would have been dealing with the entire Austin municipal water supply coming into my second story bathroom.
Yeah, that's the problem with fixing plumbing. If you don't know what you're doing, then you will make it much, much worse.
Yes. But I got it fixed, and it finally got fixed, and I was like, woohoo! And I didn't have to poop for the rest of the day. And I was like, son of a bitch. I was never been looking more forward to going to the bathroom.
What you get for eating all that cheese?
Well,
Just wheels of them, they said.
And then, but then today, I did, and I got to use it, and that shit's crazy, man.
It's great. I've had one for a long time.
Yeah. First off, I'm really amazed at those. It's $100. You take off your toilet seat. You like have to do a little bit of minor plumbing if you don't break your toilet like me. And then you like put it on, and the whole thing runs just through like the water pressure in the pipe that goes to your toilet. So it's not like you don't plug it in or any of that bullshit.
I think there's electronic, or most of them aren't electronic.
There's like a hot water one, but I didn't want to dick around with that at all. I'm okay with cold water, but like. Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so this is that thing, right? You know that thing where, like, one of your friends, like, or some of your friends, like, get a thing, like an Instant Pot, right?
Yeah.
And then they won't shut the fuck up about the Instant Pot.
Like an air fryer.
Or an air fryer, right. But I'm going to tell you guys, it was fucking amazing. Like, you do your business, you turn this thing on, woo, that'll wake you up in the morning. But then when I was done, it was just like, where did all the poop residue go? There is none. What is this? Because you got to dry off, and I was like, oh well, surely something is left. Nope, nothing's left. That fire hose done its job, and like holy shit, man, that's kind of incredible.
So Jeff, let me ask you real quick.
Yes.
Did you do it because everyone you know has one, or because you watched Randy Marsh get excited about a Japanese toilet?
I will be honest, I had looked into it in the past, and then I watched that Randy Marsh episode, and I had been thinking about it. Not to get into too much detail, but I had this problem where this dumbass fucking chair keeps giving me like these blisters on my butt crack, and I was like, maybe I should look into some options. I'm getting a little bit older, and maybe it would be better to have better butt health. And I kept like circling the idea, and then I watched that South Park episode, and that got me even closer. And then I went and looked at them online, and it was like, it's only $100, and I've got all the stuff to do it myself, and I'm comfortable. Like I know how a toilet works, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't feel intimidated by it. And then I got drunk on Saturday night, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I really want one of these. I'm going to do it. So I bought it on Amazon, and it was here the next morning when I opened my front door after I got done sobering up, and I was like, cool. So it was a little bit that South Park episode. It was a little bit that South Park episode.
I figured part of it had involved Randy being super excited about it.
Yes.
And getting shot by the toilet paper industry.
I'm not going to lie. Some of it was that. But on the other hand, like, wow, what a game changer. Like,
that's great.
Seriously, you guys, like, I can't stress enough how, like, and like I realized that, like, oh, you know what? The other thing that, when you shoot a jet of water to clean up your downstairs, like, oh man, this means I don't even really have to worry about if there's any poop on my hands when I'm done. I mean,
helps
like,
for that too. Yeah.
It's like way less. Like, you use way less toilet paper, and it doesn't use very much water, and like it's more sanitary, and it didn't take more than about 40 minutes to install if I hadn't broken my toilet.
Yeah.
If you don't have a toilet that was like installed in the 70s, it's literally never been like touched before, then it's probably a lot easier than what was going on in my place.
It's fairly easy. A lot of them come with their own little tools to do it. Like, mine came with one, but I just used my own tools for it.
Yeah, like it was like I needed like a screwdriver, and then I needed a pair of pliers just to tighten some of the connections. But yeah, man, like, fucking. I'm just telling you right now, like, if it's your birthday, maybe ask your friends to buy you a butthole washer, because it was amazing. And just like, I don't know. There's only so many times you could just say, like, wow, my butthole is really a lot cleaner right now than it normally is.
There's only so many ways you can say that without making it weird.
Yeah. Well, but okay. But the thing is that it's like, I think the thing I want to stress is that there's like, this is kind of like the Instant Pot thing, right? Where you're going to have like the guy that came out to fix my toilet. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I see these all the time. And I was like, oh, do you have one? He's like, it just seems like a little like weird to me. And like, nah, I'm not really like super into that. And I think there was some trepidation on my part, where it's like, I had to be 40 years old and they had to develop a cheap one. And it's like, it wasn't like I went to France and I came back and I was like, everybody needs to have this $7,000 toilet equipment installed in their house.
Well,
like,
yeah, because I used to say that one of the reasons a lot of Americans didn't use it was a joke on television shows,
right? When
the bidet would show up and somebody be like, they have their own water fountain or whatever,
right?
Or something fucking weird like that. And then I found out my brother used to be, one of his old jobs, he was in charge of heading a project where they did research into why Americans didn't have bidets, and why they were considered like no-nos,
or like weird
for a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came down to, you guessed it, Christian people.
Oh, right. Because if water goes into your butt, that means you're gay.
Yeah, and also they were
super duper gay.
They're also saying they were for hookers and prostitutes.
Sure.
Or actually, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all for like deviants, basically. And if you had one, you were a deviant.
Okay.
And clearly it was just some business guy being like, we need to like make Christians think bidets are evil, so we sell more toilet paper. And that's really what happened. No joke.
Wow.
He has there's a whole article for it that he helped get created for some website that sells bidets that has all that research on it.
They're just like, I'm an American, I wipe my ass with wood.
Exactly.
And like meat, just meat on a stick. That's what I use because I'm a goddamn American. And
I'm a God-fearing Christian.
That's right.
I'm not a hooker.
That's right.
You're a hooker.
You read right there in the Bible, it says if you get water in your asshole, it means you are a lady of the night. And I am no lady of the night, sir.
I'm a lady of the day.
I'm a man of the afternoon. Oh, my God. Wow, this has gone on for way too long.
This went on the rails. Went off the rails.
Michael, tell me, for the love of God, that you've got something to talk about that doesn't involve my asshole.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I was about to say something.
You had it, but it's gone?
It came back.
Okay.
Luckily.
All right.
The Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm now willing to talk about it because my review is now up.
Okay.
On One of Us because we had waited for a while.
Haven't watched it.
I like it a lot. It's one of those movies that it's a very straightforward movie. What the trailers basically tell you what the main plot is. Mario, Luigi, couple plumbers in Brooklyn find themselves in a pipe under Brooklyn that sends them to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Sure.
And sends Luigi to the I forgot what they call it in the movie, but it's World 8 basically. And he ends up in World 8 and gets captured by Bowser. Meanwhile, Mario goes to Peach to ask her to help save Luigi, and she's like, "That's great. Bowser now has a super secret weapon, and so I need your help to help me get an army of Donkey Kongs to go fight Bowser."
Okay.
And then it just goes from there.
All right.
And then you find out Bowser's ulterior motives.
Don't tell me. No, say no more. Say no more.
And then a lot of cool shit happens.
What did you think?
I liked it a lot.
Yep.
It is so full of Easter eggs that from minute 1 everything is an Easter egg.
Okay.
From the first song it plays is the song that plays during the airship stuff in Super Mario Brothers 3. There's the first time you see Mario and Luigi, it's playing the Super Mario Super Show theme.
Okay.
When the second you see Mario and Luigi, they're in a Punch-Out themed restaurant, which Punch-Out shit everywhere. Okay. And that's the first 20 minutes or first 10, 15 minutes of the entire movie. Okay. And it keeps going from there. And I thought it was a lot of fun. Of course, they make some changes from the normal Nintendo lore stuff that exists, like Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong's relationship, as well as giving Peach her own little tiny origin story.
Sure.
To explain why she's a person and everyone's a toad in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right.
I was like, well, that's neat. You didn't need to do that because the games don't bother explaining that.
Yeah.
And it does the same thing the games do, where it's just like, why do the mushrooms do that? Don't fucking worry about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just what it is.
I mean, we've seen what happens when you try to explain that shit too much. Dennis Hopper turns into a velociraptor.
Exactly. You have to trust the fungus, Jeff.
Yeah.
But but yeah, and a lot of the power ups are in the game or in the movie. Some of them newer ones like the cat bell shows up for a single scene.
Okay. I'm
just saying some of the power ups that are there, because of course it ranges from mushroom to that, and then there's a few others that pop up. But I thought it was a great time. It's fairly short. It has 2 after credit sequences.
So it's only 3 hours long?
No, it's an hour 20 or an hour 30, I want to say at most. I can't remember, but it's not overly long.
Can we keep the fucking Super Mario Brothers movie under 2 hours?
my only issue with it is same thing Illumination does with a lot of movies, where they have to have pop songs. Yeah. Even if the scene probably doesn't make sense for it to have one.
Sure.
But overall, I liked it a lot, and I actually wouldn't mind watching it again. Actually would like to watch it again very soon.
Okay.
But I really am excited to see if they use any of these characters in more stuff, because there's a lot that they use that could easily spin off from this one thing.
Well, I mean, from everything that I've seen, it's made $1 gajillion, which this is Illumination, right? We're on Minions 2 and Despicable Me 3. Yeah. There will be another Super Mario Brothers movie, but 100%. But hopefully it's the sort of thing where it's there was a certain amount of quality that was demanded by Nintendo
because Nintendo did after the first Super Mario Brothers movie, when 93 came out, they did what the Cat in the Hat, or Dr. Seuss did after watching the Cat in the Hat, right? Or their family, not Dr. Seuss himself, because he was dead at the point. They looked at the Abomination and went, "No,
never again.
Never. We're not doing this anymore. Right. We're not making movies." And so they must have took a lot of persuasion on Illumination's part.
I think it's Doug Bowser, man. I think that guy, he bowsed his way up in there, and he was just like, guys. Or maybe it was the theme park, right? They saw how positive the response was
this
to
was
all the theme park stuff.
2018. I don't remember when the theme park stuff happened.
I don't know.
It happened in the middle of the pandemic, if I remember correctly.
It seems like they're branching out a little bit. Like they're coming out of their cave and they're doing just fine. I
feel like Miyamoto's finally just gave up. He finally was just like, you know what? Technology's come long enough away. Right. We can now do this without getting Bob Hoskins drunk.
It was always a very strange idea to me that was for years, just make an animated Mario movie where Mario goes to the Mushroom Kingdom and has an adventure. Are you kidding me? You'll make a shitload of money. And then they did that, and they made a shitload of money. So what I'm saying is that they should have listened to me. So that's what you should do, Nintendo. Because do you know who doesn't listen to me and who loses a lot of money and does a lot of stupid shit?
Is it Square?
It's Square Enix.
I wasn't sure if you actually wanted me to answer that or not.
I don't ask questions that I don't want answers to.
Unless it's about his butthole.
Unless it's about... No, I'll answer any questions. let's see. Sorry, you threw me off with the butthole talk.
You did that to me earlier.
Final Fantasy 16 State of Play. That happened right before we started recording this. Yeah, we got some new information. We got a lot of I hope you're into chunky dudes and sparkles, because Final Fantasy 16 appears to be made from top to bottom out of sparkly sparkles and chunky guys in black. Okay.
You just described a gay strip club, by the way.
All right, fine. It's the gayest podcast on the internet now. Okay, if that's what's got to be, that's what's got to be.
I'm just saying, the way you described that was very much like something a person in the Iron Bar would say.
Okay.
Bear would say.
Okay, listen. The last Final Fantasy game, right, was about a dude all dressed in black and his buddies going around a desaturated world having like really repetitive combat against a bajillion things. And this Final Fantasy is about a dude in black and all of his buddies going around the world having real repetitive combat against a bunch of different things.
Also, there's a dog.
Yes, there's a dog this time instead of a Coleman camp, camp furnace and a Cup of Noodles tie-in DLC. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a Cup of Noodles tie-in DLC for this. I don't know, man. I keep trying to I don't want to dislike Final Fantasy.
I don't either.
I love Final Fantasy, but what I'm seeing here just ain't fucking doing it for me, man. Like,
no.
Okay. So what do we actually find out? Like,
I think the coolest thing we found out is that it takes place during a 3 time frame of the guy's life.
Right.
His teens, his 20s, and his 30s.
His 30s.
Which I think is interesting.
Everybody knows that in Japan, once you're over 30, you don't exist anymore.
Yes, exactly. You're dead.
You're dead.
After 30.
You might as well be dead.
You're retired.
That's what hentai has taught me. Yeah, there's kind of a lot of information here, but I don't feel like much of it is really very interesting. Not relevant, interesting. They talk about the time frame. They talk about the dog. They talk about okay, here's one that I find really strange. They talk about how most normal video games, I don't understand this. Maybe you understand this and I don't. Most normal video games, if you want your video game to appeal to a wide audience, you would have different difficulty modes. You would say, I want this game on easy. And if you wanted to go one step further, you could even have an accessibility sheet that shows turn on the Persona 4 PC release, right? Had give me back my health after every encounter, or double XP, or Final Fantasy sometimes have a fast forward button.
Even the remasters have some stuff like that.
Yeah, and here it's no, we've got accessories that you can equip that make the game easier. So you have to take up your accessory slots with auto dodge or slow down before dodge, or these various and it's just why are you doing it like that? Why is it okay, if you want people to be able to play your game and for it to be easier in case they get stuck on a harder difficulty level, why don't you just give them a difficulty level instead of making them equip make it easy equipment inside of the game?
Yeah,
that's more why it's too convoluted. It's a bunch of different steps that we don't need.
It's not the first time I've heard of a game having somewhat stuff like that, block if you have this item you auto block
chicken hat
and stuff
or
like that.
Bayonetta had something like that.
Yeah, there actually are a lot of games that have something similar, and they're designed specifically the way they're said. They're for the guy who's not super good at action. But a lot of those games still have the difficulty modes in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Where when they were showing this one off, they're like, hey, by the way, if you guys aren't really good at action games, because hey, we're normally an RPG, so this is for you guys who aren't into Devil May Cry. Here's a bunch of accessories. Auto evade if it evades. I guess auto heals, maybe, I assume. They only mentioned one in specific, but they said that the mode that they have for it is story option.
Yeah, well,
but it gives you 5 of them automatically attached to you.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it weird, because it's well, why wouldn't you just have a difficulty mode? Because that means that in normal mode you could just get those anyways.
Yes.
So what was really the point of having 2 modes for that?
I don't. It doesn't. It doesn't make a lot of sense to
Like,
me.
is it unlockable or does it give you more gear? It doesn't. They don't really explain it that well.
I'm not entirely clear on why they decided to do it that way. Let's go to some more mechanics. They did show that like what the game's going to be an overland map, and then you're going to go to like specific areas. So it's going to be segmented into specific areas.
It's closer to like a Monster Hunter type traversal than a normal RP or a normal Final Fantasy one.
Yeah, which that's fine. They showed some chocobo stuff. I'm sure we've seen that before. They showed some ships. One of the main issues that I think that I had was, and I don't know if this is just because of the way that they're demoing this, was that they kept showing like they had these long extended combat demonstrations, and the thing is that I don't know what the deal was, but I felt like I noticed early on that I started looking at the enemy HP bars, and like Clive, the main character, he's going fucking crazy, man. He's got fire coming off of him. He's got sparkles everywhere. He's like locking on with a million lasers, and yet none of the health bars seem to be going down when he hits them with like a billion like lightning bolts. They all just stand there. Like, look at this. You saw that what I was doing? He's like, I mean, he's like a bigger guy, right? And he's supposed to be getting like this break bar filled up. It's like he's shooting him with a gajillion things, and like nothing happens. The bad guy's just standing there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a demo thing or not, because he goes fucking ham on these guys.
Yeah.
Like triple S rank shit.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you're like, well, that looks really cool, but I don't feel like I'm actually feeling it watching this.
Right.
Like because when you do that to an enemy enough times in certain games, they die super hard.
Right.
Where this is just like, oh god, that kind of hurt. I think I sprained my ankle or something.
Like any of these moves that you're seeing Clive do, just like one after another after another after another, like any one of them would be really impressive as like an ultimate attack.
Yeah, like a finisher move.
But I feel like maybe, and I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to like be a dick or anything, but it kind of reminds me of Forspoken, where everything looks so flashy that like there is no grading, there's no curve about like, oh, that looks impressive, so it must be more powerful than a standard sword attack. Everything looks like a limit break. Every attack that they're showing looks like some kind of final limit break attack.
Well, it's something that I actually wrote about in Lost Souls when they first mentioned the type of game it was going to be.
Yeah.
Which is that the reason character action games are harder to make than they sound is because you can make something look really, really cool, but it needs to feel like you're doing something when you do them. Mm-hmm. Because if you have a character, like I could make a game where the character does like the fucking 1,000 hit Oda from like Jotaro's thing,
right,
or the giant Muda that Giorno does in part 5, and if the guy only gets like 10% of his health off of that, what the fuck was the point of that looking cool?
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing all those things at the hit of a button, it also doesn't feel good. Like everything needs to feel good, and everything needs to like feel like you've actually done something once the hits are finished. Mm-hmm. And if you just have a bunch of flashy stuff going on, you don't really feel all that powerful.
There has to be an escalation. You have to have kind of more basic looking regular attacks, and then you have to have like special attacks or magic spells or something like that. Or there has to be a combo where it's like if you manage to get to the end of the combo, then the finisher is a little bit flashier, and then it takes off more health, so that you feel the escalation between like just one stab and like finishing a combo. And everything here looks, to me at least, it looks similarly epic. And so it's the Incredibles thing, right?
Yeah.
When everybody's super, nobody's super. It's like all I'm watching here is an incomprehensible blur of different colored lightnings and sparks and fires coming off of this guy, and yet none of it, like, I don't see the difference between the different attacks. Like when I look at the footage of Devil May Cry 5, right? I can tell the difference between like Nero's attacks and Dante's attacks and V's attacks. You know, it's like I can see the difference when I look at them, or when I'm watching God of War gameplay, right? The difference between the axe and the blades and the drop near spear. Like I can see the difference between those, and they look different. Whereas this is so bombastic that I feel like it all is kind of blurring together. We also saw the upgrade system, which is a dress sphere, or a sphere grid, or take your pick. Like,
and they were like, well, if you don't want to figure out which one you want, just have it auto update.
Just have it auto.
And I was like, I guess.
Yeah. And it looks like, I mean, as I think we've known before, it looks like the powers are tied to the different summons. That you're going to be getting different, like, I don't know, whatever they're calling them, eidolons or icons. And then each one of those is going to have different, like, things. And that was when they showed the gear. And the difficulty, we already complained about that. Oh, yeah, they showed Sid's hideout, which is like your hub that is all gray.
Yeah, you're like in the middle of a cavey looking area.
I mean, I know they could do color. I've seen jungles and like outside.
Yeah. The last trailer showed a lot of like really brightly colored areas.
Yeah. And in here there's like, you know, shops and NPC quests, and they brought back hunts, which I don't understand why anybody in Final Fantasy ever liked that mechanic. We didn't talk about it on the mic, but there's like a practice area that you could equip different loadouts and then try them out, and there's an arcade mode where you can post your high score online, and there's just not a lot of fun. I don't know. Like I feel like if once I get my hand on it, maybe I'll have more fun with the idea. Yeah.
But for the way it is right now, it's not flashy enough, but it's also too flashy,
right,
for what it's trying to do. The main issue with the game, as well as just how the developers have talked about it in the past, is they're ashamed of being a Final Fantasy game.
It seems that way.
They were very adamant that, because this one is one thing that makes some sense, which they felt like a JRPG was a bad word to them, because they don't want to just be considered a JRPG. They want to just be considered a game,
right? Which
is a fair thing to, like, you know, want to be. They don't want to be like thrown into a category that would cause some people to not want to buy it. They want to get to the casual audience the way God of War does, or the way Devil May Cry 5 does in some ways, and, you know, like Horizon and stuff like that. Those kinds of games.
Yeah,
they want to be the guy. The problem is no one there really knows how to be the guy. They've hired people to maybe help them with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, they don't really understand why those games are actually really popular. And it feels like, because all they did is they looked at God of War and they saw giant monster fights, and they're like, we can do that. And same with Horizon. They're like, we could totally do that, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then you watch the actual fights that they show in this trailer or this state of play, and you're like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel the impacts. I don't feel like this is really cool. I can't tell what's happening on half of the video for some of it, because there's so many sparkles and stuff like that.
It also is weird to me. I mean, one of the things that's really strange to me is, like, you go back and you look at all of the previous Final Fantasies. Because this is the fourth game in a row. I'm going to count Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 14, because it's an MMO, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 16, where you are playing as one guy. Like, you're playing as one character, and then, like, I guess in 14 you can team up with other people.
No,
but like
that would make sense though.
This idea that it's like, oh, here's a bunch of but the one thing you can't do at 14 is control a whole party, which I think is something that for a lot of RPG fans is a big draw. Like, I played all the way through that Tales of Arise game last year or whatever, where it's like, you know, you got all these different characters and they've all got their little loyalty quests and they got their own little thing and you're gonna talk to them at the campfire. And here it's like, no, you're just gonna play as the one generic guy with the sword. And, like, you know, other games like Skyrim or like Elden Ring, or, you know, there are other dark and gritty fantasy games, but a lot of times they will give you the ability to make your own character. You know, do you want to make your main character in Neo 2 fucking pink-haired, pigtailed Asian lady? You could do that, but here it's like, no, because this is Clive. So it's like, boy, you guys are really rolling the dice hard on Clive. I really hope Clive's story is compelling. I haven't seen that yet, but like, I really hope that Clive's story doesn't turn out to be boring, because here's the thing. You may not like Titus from Final Fantasy X, but you might like Yuna, and you might like Waka, and you might like Kimari's story, because you had a big group full of people, as opposed to this one dark-haired, all dressed in black main character with too many sparkles. It's just Final Fantasy 15 but medieval. Like, it's just Final Fantasy 15 but like, and I really don't want to dislike this game. It's just, you know what? It's not even that I dislike it. It's that it's not doing anything for me. I want to be excited, and I'm not excited.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not even saying it looks bad. I'm just saying it looks.
You're just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed. I am feeling what the kids say, which is mid.
Yeah.
It's just like, guys, like this doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look all that interesting either. Like, I don't have time for okay anymore.
Yeah.
And this just looks okay.
Yeah. And then I guess we should talk at the end about, they showed the icon fights, and I mean, you put your finger right on it. We were talking before we started, where it's just like, there's just glorified QuickTime events, man.
100%.
It's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to build your icon? Are you going to build, I want a magic using icon. No, I want a melee icon. Oh, I want a long range icon. And it's like, it's all just Ifrit, hit the button, or lock on with your Panzer Dragoon shot as Phoenix. Like, and that's like that. There's like a sliding scale, right, between like how epic you can make something that the player can control, and then like you can take more control away from the player and make something look way more epic. But I feel a lot of times that developers do that, and then it doesn't work, because then you end up relegating it to a QuickTime event or a glorified QuickTime event, which is what I think I see in a lot of the icon fight stuff.
They're stuck in the beginning sequences of QuickTime event usage, which is that they think just because there's a lot of explosions and you hit the square button a bunch of times, that it's really cool.
Yeah.
And when it first came out as a thing, it was kind of cool playing God of War and hitting the square button a bunch of times. But we've gotten past the point where hitting the square button a bunch of times is as interesting as it used to be. And even God of War has evolved past it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And they've made things a little more creative with it, as well as a lot of other games that use QuickTime events. Like Resident Evil 4 removed a lot of the weirder QuickTime events, like run away from the boulder.
Oh, they're all gone. There's no QuickTime events in that game anymore.
The closest thing to it is when you fight Krauser and you have to hit the square button when he attacks you and you block him or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is what they did in that other one too. But that's like,
but the thing about doing that is like you use the block and you use the evasion button when you're fighting Krauser, but you also use those buttons when you're fighting everyone.
Yeah.
So the same button that you hit to block when a fucking Ganados is about to hack at you with an axe is the same button you have to use then in the Krauser fight. So it's like part of the mechanics, as opposed to just, there's a key on the screen when they're showing these fights on the side that says, here are the buttons, because you're obviously going to be doing this so infrequently that they need to remind you of what the controls are like for this. So, and also I feel like, and this is just my own personal preference, and by God, we got to move off of this after this, because we can't spend the entire
It was like 20 minutes worth of footage
talking about this, is that I also feel like Final Fantasy has moved further and further away from like, summons are a thing that the player can use in the course of a regular. You could choose when you want to use them, because in Final Fantasy 15 they were the Eidolons, and they were like, the whole plot was based around them. But and then Final Fantasy, I don't know. I liked it back when you were really excited for summons, because you're like, oh shit, this could be helpful the next time I have a boss fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Bahamut and get a giant thing, as opposed to, no, you're going to go into a preset fight. And like, what was that at the end where they have this giant number comes up, this 2 million hit point shot. And it's like, well, who cares? Look how much bar is left on this boss fight. Sure, like you might as well just put 9999999 on there.
It would have made more sense, to be honest.
Like,
well, the other issue I have with it, or not even an issue, it's just that you don't feel like any of it matters when you're doing it, like, because it's just all giant explosions.
Yeah.
And you just hit the square button a few times. But I don't know. There's some of the sequence that I can get would look kind of cool, but there's a lot of it that still just feels generic, and which is sad because a lot they're trying their best to try to make a game that isn't what they've been doing in the past, and I'll give them credit for that. Although
I don't think that's actually true.
This is more of a funny thing that makes me laugh is the fact that since everybody has like these icons, that there's the guy's like, I'm really cool because I'm Ifrit, but then there's the guy who has to be the old wizard that shoots lightning.
Oh yeah, Odin. Yeah,
or no, it's not even Odin. I forgot his name.
Ramu?
Yeah, Ramu. So you're just like, I'm Ifrit. I'm like, I'm Ramu. Yeah, you look like the old dude when you transform.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm gonna play it. I really want to like it. And you know what? Here's the thing. I will say this. I can't actually say anything nice about this, but what I will say is that I just this morning started playing through Resident Evil 4 for a third time.
Oh, jeez.
And I talked a lot of shit about Resident Evil 4 before it came out. And I'm not even the happiest about Resident Evil 4, but you know what? They did a really good job. It was a very fun game. From the trailers, I was a little like, but I went and played it, and it was really fun. I'm more than happy to be. You know what? Go back 3 years ago and listen to me talk about Elden Ring, where I'm like, I mean, they showed some like crafting. I don't know. This just seems like it could be open world Dark Souls, and like that doesn't sound very good. And now I'm just like, yeah, I just started up my 5th character that I'm trying to level up to level 90. So
and I lost 3 months of my life. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. So who knows? You know, maybe I don't know shit. I mean, there's plenty of people out there who are like, yes, that's what I've been screaming this entire time, and I can't hear them because it's my birthday, and I can't hear negative thoughts on my birthday. But yeah, I really hope that I'm just missing something, or that there's some kind of tuning issue that we haven't seen happen, and that it's just the damage values are coming from the demo footage, or they don't want to show you being too OP, or maybe whoever captured this demo footage is bad at Final Fantasy 16 or something. But yeah, we'll see.
The acting is all still very Final Fantasy, by the way, if you guys are wondering.
That's true.
So yeah.
Very soon. I tell you what, though. Okay, polar opposite of Final Fantasy 16. We also got the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Same day.
Yeah, exact same day.
And this I am really, really excited for, because looks like it's got some real dumb shit and some cool stuff, and I'm into it.
It's safe to say that I cried.
Oh, yeah.
But that's whoever did the job of editing it.
Yeah.
Did a really good job with it, because the combination of music and everything really hit my soul.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, we had that presentation that was that like 2 weeks ago, for like
a couple weeks ago,
3 weeks ago. And that presentation where they showed some of the new stuff. I'm glad they showed some of the new stuff, because that was what got me I mean, it was kind of like, I mean, I'm going to play it, but is it just more of the same? And then it ends up saying like, no, it is definitely not more of the same.
Yeah, and then this trailer really said it's not more of the same.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to see the Big G. We got to see some more crazy like invention stuff and some story stuff. And yeah, like a lot of stuff that looks... Just a lot of stuff that I'm like, I haven't seen that before in this franchise.
Yeah, some of the stuff is just like really cool looking, and some of it reminds me of like mechanics that I thought were cool in other games that just I feel like I never thought I would see in this kind of game.
Like what?
Well, there's the him falling through the
the lasers.
The lasers.
He's doing the Mission Impossible.
Yeah, doing the Mission Impossible. Because the last time I saw something similar, this is gonna be very much a me answer, which is the Spider-Man Edge of Time thing. When you're 2099 and you're like falling down, and you can slow down and like go faster to go through like lasers and shit. And except that was like a quick timey type thing. But this is just something I guess he might just be able to do. Yeah. And I just think it's fucking fascinating, all the stuff you can do in this game.
This is more exciting than anything I saw in Final Fantasy 16. Link put a shield on a sword. So we saw the weapon grafting mechanic where you can like attach weapons together, and it looks like he's using like a sword, but then he put a shield on the sword, and then it's like it looks like he was going to go hit with the sword, and that did like a parry with the shield that's attached to the sword.
There's a lot of parry stuff in this trailer. Because there's that, and he does this parry with like the time
oh
move.
yeah, the time reversal, that Yeah, we saw that. That was how he got up to the platform, right?
Yeah, but he's like using it in combat, which I think is really cool.
Like somebody threw a fireball and then he time reversed it back. I like this this like carriage, like a little wagon, but it's obviously made with the like attachment goops.
Yeah, and he's like carrying people around with it.
Yeah, like some kind of quest. There's a very brief shot towards the end of like Link standing on top of this really dopey looking fucking battle bot, like going up against like it looks like a bunch of moblins on their own battle bot. Like
I kind of love it. There's so much going on in it.
So goofy.
And they revealed the most story in this than they've done in anything, and it's still not a lot of story.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. And some really cool boss fight looking things.
Mm-hmm.
And goddamn, I'm really excited to find out more of what's happening.
I really just wish that there was, this maybe should tell you something about Nintendo. I'm more than happy to play this game. I will be more than happy to put this into my Switch and play it. If Nintendo was like, hey, we have a better Switch that makes everything look better and it costs $400, it would just be that Fry meme. I'd be like, shut up and take my money, Nintendo.
Oh, 100%. I'm only slightly disappointed, but that one that Ganon is coming, but Ganondorf is the thing again.
Yeah,
but his design is really cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
There was people keep posting thirst pictures about him. And my first thought was stupid, sexy Ganondorf.
Of course they do. They're posting thirst pictures about the regenerators in RE4.
That's true.
And their big asses, okay? Like, the internet's horny for everything. The internet needs to calm down.
It really does. But in this case, I understand.
I got a story later about things the internet is horny for that I think just goes to show that it doesn't matter anymore.
No.
What is it? Oh, no, it doesn't matter. The internet is horny for all of it. All of it.
They're going to be horny for that BattleBot soon.
I saw a tweet. It's maybe old. I don't know if it was. I saw it as an image macro that was captured where it was Gordon Ramsay with his newborn.
Yeah.
And it was like talking about, I don't know, in some caption about that. It was Gordon Ramsay and his wife and his newborn. And then somebody replied to that and said, guess Raw isn't so bad now, huh, Gordon? And I was like, Jesus Christ, internet. Good Lord.
The internet is into some weird shit.
All right. Well, you know what? That's some good news.
That's some all right.
Tears of the Kingdom is looking good. Now I've got a lot of less good news. So
buckle in, folks.
Yeah, it was a week. It was a dramatic week. Of course, none of it's like super well. Okay, no.
It depends on what your meter is.
Some of it's a little bad. All right. Let's start with Nintendo doing some stupid shit on behalf of Tears of the Kingdom. First, okay, I'm actually really interested to talk about this. Mm-hmm. So, back in March, there was a GameStop employee who went onto the Tears of the Kingdom subreddit and basically leaked that there was a SKU for a Switch that was going to be coming out, and it turned out to be the Tears of the Kingdom Switch, a themed Switch. This guy, whose name I'm blanking on, Mike? Yeah.
It wasn't me, I swear.
He basically went out and he said, I did this because I know a lot of people like to get the limited edition stuff, and I wanted to make the people who are fans of this game, I wanted them to be like in the know so they could come and pre-order it, be aware, right? You don't want it to be a thing where you're just a normal person and you would have loved to have had that, but you just didn't know about it, and then it came out and you just, you were working that day and you didn't realize that you were going to get it. So that happened. He leaked it a little bit ahead of time, and then just recently he was fired. And it turns out that Nintendo called up GameStop and was like, you get that fucking guy out of there, man. You get that fucking guy out of there. Like, nobody leaks our shit. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. And they did. They fired him. And it's apparently in more direct conversations with his managers were like, yeah, this came from way up there of like, get that guy out of there.
Like the boss's boss was called by Nintendo.
Yeah.
And Miyamoto sent him a Master Sword with blood on it and said, get rid of his ass.
Yes.
Or I'll get rid of you.
The saddest part is he said he pre-ordered the Switch, the collector's edition Switch, but now he can't afford it because he doesn't have a job anymore.
That poor bastard.
I'm sure that the Reddit might be willing to take care of you. So here's the deal. I read this story, and you know what? Like, I'm not a big fan of big corporations. I'm not a big fan of GameStop. I think that the people that work at GameStop are woefully mistreated and underpaid.
1,000%.
But man, you take your job in your hands when you use your job to leak shit.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like,
especially Nintendo shit.
Right. This is, you and I have a conversation a few weeks back about it. It's just like, if you did this, then you should make sure that your resume is in order and like start looking around at like which Arby's are hiring, because like,
or you're anonymous as hell.
There is there is
you VPN that you're in the middle of Spain,
right,
and that you were wearing a big beard and mustache while you're taking the picture, because you're going to see that reflection of you.
Yeah. There's a very good, like, if you do that, I mean, I guess it's maybe just a testament to the way that people are online and how a lot of people, it's like what? The finger of consequences, the find out finger, like it'll pass around for a long time and it'll pass over you. Like you may fuck around all the time and you may never get touched with the big finger of find out, but you have to be ready that when you do fuck around, this might be the day when your number comes up and the find out finger comes to your door. I don't know what the finger metaphor is about. It's
duck goose. You're just like duck duck. Or just
so on the one hand, it's like, boy, I would love to shit on Nintendo or shit on GameStop, but like, come on, man. Like you had to know, you can't be too broken up over this. You had to know that this was a potential thing that could happen.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that when you're somebody who's really excited about something and you want to tell somebody about it, but legally you're not supposed to, then you should know that you shouldn't do it. And there's a lot of people who do it, and that's how leak stories happen to begin with. There's somebody who just can't help themselves to explain what the next plot of Spider-Man or something is going to be, or when the next amiibo is going to come out. And sometimes people will see it as a public service thing. I'm using quotey fingers, but at the end of the day, like, you signed something that said don't fucking do that, and then you did it. So that's I'm not mad about it. I wish, like, Nintendo sues people all the time, and this is one of those times I actually don't blame them at all for being upset about something, because they didn't sue the guy.
They didn't even sue the guy. They got him fired.
They could have very easily. They could have easily sued GameStop directly, and then that dude's ass would have been in way more trouble. Yeah. And luckily they didn't do that, because they were doing that to another guy who leaked some art book shit. So
yeah, that's our next story. So not that kind of sucks, but you gotta know.
Yeah, you gotta know.
But yes, you are correct. Nintendo is subpoenaing Discord to reveal the information about a particular Discord user that leaked a bunch of the art book for Tears of the Kingdom. This happened a while back. This one I'm a little bit less sympathetic to the fuck around part of the equation, because like, this wasn't the official Nintendo Discord server. Like, if this is a fan Discord server, like, what law was broken? Like, if a user doesn't sign an NDA and they get their hands on information, it's like leaking information isn't like against the law.
See,
like,
in this instance, it's not that they're after the user; they're after the user to find out who gave it to the user. Yeah. Because that's what they're actually after, the NDA guy. Because according to some stuff I looked into, the NDA guy is the one who sent the guy those images. Right. But he probably did it the way like a friend does, where he's like, hey, you want to see something fucking cool? Yeah. And then just like showed him something, and then he's like, hey, could you send that to me so I could just like have it, I guess? And the guy was too trusting about it, not realizing this guy was on a Discord going, my uncle works for Nintendo kind of thing. Right. And but realistically he actually did. And that's just what happens. If you work for Nintendo, just don't tell anybody anything. Or any game company, really, if you've signed an NDA.
The thing is that for this one, I look at this one and I go, I think this is too much. I think this is too much work. Like, because ostensibly Nintendo is so draconian and they're so litigious with like trying to punish people do the things that they don't want to as like a deterrent. But to be honest, like I've been around, I've been doing this for a while now. Nobody gives a shit.
No, we don't.
Like,
legitimately, if they could have leaked the entire plot of the entire game,
right,
and most of us would have just tried to avoid it.
Yeah,
that's all we would have done.
Yeah,
and that's technically what we did now with these art book ones.
And yeah, and if you found the person that leaked the plot and then you sued them for $2 million and ruined their lives, I don't think that would make the other people that are going to leak less inclined to leak, but it would make people like me who read gaming news go like, "Oh, come on, Nintendo. That's too much for like
100%.
Leaking. It's a video. It's just a fucking video game, man." Like, there's some limits as to how incensed I'm going to get about some of this video game stuff.
Wasn't there like a Borderlands 3 guy doing something like that with Discord? If I remember correctly,
possibly.
There was a whole story about it. I remember us talking about it on the podcast at one point. But if it reminds me of that.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times it's like, no, the Borderlands was a different one, but like, you know, when it's like somebody will tweet something and then, or no, the footage will get leaked and then like Ubisoft will spend weeks trying to scrub the footage off the internet, and it's like, the harder you try to scrub, the more I'm like, well, what is it? I want to see that real bad. Like, what are they trying to suppress so hard? Like,
that's what happened with the Suicide Squad image.
Yep.
When that came out.
Yep.
They even came after me.
They should be really, they should just be very blasé about it. Like, oh, whatever, man. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Some places have been like, they've been hush about it. Where they just won't say anything. And then people will just speculate if it was even real.
Yeah.
And that ends up working out better, to be honest, because they end up gaining traction. So I don't know. I think that's interesting.
I just don't think that that companies should take this shit, should take leaks so seriously. Well, like they should take the L and then try to figure out what happened and make sure it doesn't happen next time.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing.
Instead of trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, which they always want to do. And it's like, you guys, you can't do that. That's not possible.
It's never going to happen. That's the internet.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of bad decisions, we got a story last week about Redfall, Arcane and Bethesda's vampire killing game that I've also been very nervous about.
I'm way more nervous about it than I thought I would have been.
Yeah. Well, keep telling you to buy a gaming PC, and you keep telling me no.
And the answer will still be no, because I have nowhere to put it. I have nowhere to put any of my shit right now.
So Arcane is putting out Redfall. It's coming out in May. And it turns out that it's going to ship on the Xbox locked to quality mode.
Yes.
So 30 frames per second, 4K render with no option for a performance switch. This will be patched in later.
Who knows when that'll happen?
What's that?
And I said, who knows when that'll actually happen? Because they gave no date for that.
Yes. The PC is completely unlocked, so that's
we'll have to deal with de novo, though.
That is true. There's also de novo.
That is the downside of the PC version.
I've never had too much of a problem with that. But anyway, yeah, this is bad. This is not great because the lack of that option, that's like a really basic option.
That's a deal breaker now. Like it wasn't like years ago, because I was reading comments for the announcement for it, and there was one guy going, when Destiny 2 came out, it was 30 frames per second. I'm like, yeah, but that was like a generation and a half ago almost, kind of thing. Like, that's like, we are now in 2023 where the console marketing is like, we can go up to 124 frames per second,
right?
And dude,
look at the DLS.
No games are fucking doing it. Or not no games, but yeah.
Look at that. Last week we had that ray tracing, that full ray tracing for Cyberpunk trailer where they were showing the frame rate with DLSS 3, where it's like it'll do 300 frames per second. It'll do 500 frames a second. And it's just like, cool. What monitor can display that? I don't know what the fuck that's for, but
yeah, because the other issue that some people are having with this 30 frames per second thing is all the footage shown was 60 frames per second.
Oh, yeah,
Because they
yeah.
were using the PC version.
Yep.
And they never once said anything about, hey, by the way, we're going to only be locked to 30
Well, it's also
until
like
a month before it comes out.
This article on Polygon that we're reading for this also mentions Gotham Knights, and it's
That was the biggest one last time.
yeah. And what's interesting about it is that like here's what I don't understand: why? Redfall is like a good-looking game, but it's not exactly like pushing the bleeding edge of ray tracing and technology. Like,
So I bring you back to what happened with Gotham Knight and then the Rocksteady developer.
Yeah.
If you remember what happened there, which is he was like, by the way, guys, one of the reasons why this is an issue is because the Xbox Series S is a fucking potato.
oh yeah,
And so everything has to match,
right?
And some companies can't get it to work
I guess
the way they can compared to the super ultra powerful Series X.
But didn't the other thing? The other thing they said was that Gotham Knights only runs at 30 frames per second because it has to be online all the time. They started with that, right? Where they said
that was the original reason they gave. That was the reason they gave without throwing the Xbox Series S under the bus,
right?
Because the Rocksteady guy wasn't a certain guy who was working on Gotham Knights. He was a random developer that would just raised his hand in the background who said, "Hey, I got an idea. I have a reason why this is fucking happening."
Yeah,
and honestly, like I can see that happening here as well because it's only on the two consoles. So odds are that's exactly what's happening here.
You know, somebody
and also it is also still online only at the moment because they have to patch that out still for single player.
Somebody asked us on the podcast like what's or not on the podcast, it was on our Elden Ring video. They asked us like what's a thing that irritates you about like next gen consoles, or what's the thing you really like about next gen consoles? And like Michael, we're what, a third of the way into the lifespan of these consoles. I cannot wait until everything just fucking runs on Unreal 5 and we're done, because like I look at the way that Fortnite runs in 4K at 60 frames per second with ray tracing jacked all the way up, right? It's just like, if that's what it takes, then I wish that you motherfuckers would all run on UE5, because I hate this limbo that we're in where it's like, I don't know,
one or the other.
We've got 4K ray tracing and 60 frames per second. Pick two. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I spent a lot of money on these things. Like, you can be all three of them. I know you can. I've seen it.
Yeah, there are games that have done it. The Spider-Man Remastered did it.
Yep. So I really can't wait for them to finally get to the point where that's the standard, because apparently it's very difficult to do this with other engines.
Yeah.
So let's see. From there, did you see this shit last week with the Ark
I did not.
Speaking of Unreal Engine 5. Okay, so speaking of Unreal Engine 5, last week we had a story. Ark Survival Evolved is being put out in a new version called Ark the Survival Ascendant. They said, "Oh, we're getting a free Unreal Engine 5 upgrade for Ark Survival Evolved." And then last week they were like, "JK, it's not free. It's going to cost you money." Everybody's like, "Well, how much will it cost us?" Like $50. But that is your pre-order cost for Ark 2. And everybody's like, "Okay, the Vin Diesel one." And like, "Yes. We also have news about Ark 2. And people said, "What's the news?" And they were like, "It's been delayed till 2024. They said, "Okay, so if I want to get the UE5 version of Ark, I have to pay $50, but that's a pre-order for Ark 2. Like, "Yes." Like, "Okay." And also, we're shutting down the servers for the non-UE5 version of Ark, so you can play like peer-to-peer or local or single player, but you can't play with the online servers unless you pay the $50 to upgrade. And everybody's like, "Oh, that sounds terrible. That sounds pretty stupid."
That's really stupid.
Yeah,
like incredibly stupid.
So people complained a lot, and this week they answered, and they came out and they said, "You know what? You guys are right. Paying $50 to pre-order Ark 2, that's not very fair. We haven't even shown any gameplay of Ark 2 yet. You don't even know if it's worth your $50. So here's what we're going to do instead. It's a $60 upgrade, and you don't get Ark 2 at all." And also the servers are still getting turned off.
What the fuck?
So the end.
You want you guys to stop playing your game? Because that's how you get your fans to stop playing your game.
The only thing they said is that the $60 upgrade will involve will cover all future DLC for the first Ark game. So if you buy the $60 upgrade, then you get access to all of the DLC, past and future. Michael, I'm going to ask you this as a because I think you're going to be able to give me the answer that I'm looking for. Does Ark seem like a game worth spending any money to play?
No.
I've looked at it and I'm just like, what is going on here? No, I don't fucking care about that.
Every time I look at Ark, it looks like such a fucking hassle.
Yep.
That I'm like, when I don't have time for this shit. And when they showed the Vin Diesel one, I was like, why?
Yep.
Why does anyone care about any of this?
It's Vin Diesel.
It's a survival game.
It's Vin Diesel.
And then now finding this out, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. This is so fucking stupid. This is the Overwatch 2 thing, except somehow stupider.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how badly they handled everything.
Yeah, every step of the way.
Like, I would rather that you give me the UE5 upgrade for $50 with the pre-order for Ark 2. It's like I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. It's like next week it's going to be $100, and also it doesn't have any DLC. And the week after that it's $200.
Also, we canceled Ark 2.
Yeah, we canceled Ark 2, and if you don't pay for it, we're going to come to your house and punch you in the nuts. And it's like, wait, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like,
we didn't have enough Unreal 5 money to pay Vin Diesel.
What to me, this just reeks of desperation.
It's desperation.
Like, you guys are not making any money. You want the money.
But this is the most blatant desperation I've ever seen a gaming company ever do.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
because at least sometimes they're like they're more coy about it, but this is just asinine.
Yep, I agree. It's stupid and not worth the money.
No.
The end. End of story.
Should not fall for this shit.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Let them fucking burn themselves to the ground.
True.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's Ark. Whose favorite game is Ark? You know, when people do that thing on Reddit and they're just like, here's the big wall of my favorite games. You know what game I don't see in there? Ark.
No.
Do you know what I never heard is somebody just like, oh man, you got to check out Ark. It's so good. I play it all the time. I play it with my buddies. We get off of work, we go play Ark. Like Minecraft with dinosaurs. Ark, man. You got to play Ark. Like, Matt doesn't play Ark.
Yeah,
he's never played it.
That is actually one of the more surprising things. You think he would at least tried it once?
Do you play Ark? Let me know in the comments. Tell me why it's good.
Tell us if you would spend that much money to keep playing Ark.
You know what? I've loaded up some horse shit for this channel. There have been weeks where there's nothing to play, and I've loaded up Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced on my Raspberry Pi because I needed something to play. Not once in the entire 10-year history of RageSelect have I ever been like, shit, there's nothing to play this week. What should we play? I know. We haven't ever played Ark on this channel. Let's play Ark on this channel. Also, the word Ark doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So
you just like saying Ark.
Ark. All right, one more story, and then we're going to take a break. Dead by Daylight had a very brief change that has been rolled back. This had to do with healing. So apparently in the previous version of the game, the health regeneration was 16 seconds to regenerate your health, and they upped that to 24 seconds. And apparently everybody hated this because it just made the survivors like too weak, so they just kept getting wiped by the killers. Of course, as somebody who has watched Tony play Dead by Daylight, I was like, damn, man, like you are just bebopping all over this Freddy Krueger, making him look like a dork. So yeah, it appears that now they're going to be changing this so that they switched it back, but that they're going to be changing healing kits instead, so that they heal slower and they heal other people faster, but they heal you slower, as opposed to just the standard health regeneration.
So this is just one of those things where somebody's trying. They wanted to try to balance out a game that people don't want changes to happen to.
Yep.
And this is just going to be a game of back and forth for a while.
Yep.
Until either one of them gives up.
Sometimes you just got to do it and eat the negative comments because something needs to be changed to actually make the game more fun, and people will bitch because nobody likes it when you change their thing, but eventually they'll get used to it and it's fine. But
100%.
In this case, it's good that they're listening. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we have a lot more news. I probably put more news in here. I didn't anticipate how long complaining about Final Fantasy 16 would take.
There's a lot of footage to complain about.
Yeah,
to be fair,
it's true. When they said 20 minutes new footage, I thought the entire thing was going to be 20 minutes, and then it was going to be less talking about stuff. Anyway, make sure to stick around. We will be back in just a moment with more podcasts. And boy, we got a lot of news left to go. So we're gonna kind of put the pedal a little bit to the news pedal to the news metal. Dreams is shutting down their kind of live service component. Not like the entire thing, like it's getting moved off onto a separate server where people can still they can still put projects, they can archive, but what they're not doing is they're not doing any more events, they're not doing any more updates to the software, they're not doing any more like community showcases or anything like that. They're scaling all the way back, and that's all going to be happening in September. Because Media Molecule is going to go start developing something else.
Dreams 2. Dream harder.
They said very specifically, not Dreams 2. So it's funny because I think...
So they're making Speed.
I think that if you read between the lines here... Dreams was an abject failure. Like,
no, it 100% was, which is unfortunate because of what you could do with it.
Yeah.
The problem is, gamers aren't as creative as you'd like them to be.
No.
The ones that are super creative.
Well,
but that's maybe like 20 out of like every 50.
Yeah.
Or not even. Actually, not even every 20 out of like every 200.
Right.
Gamers.
It also doesn't. It's interesting the timing on this, considering like what was it? 3-4 weeks ago that Unreal announced the UE5 toolkit for Fortnite, where it's just like, oh yeah, like this is way easier, and Fortnite is way more popular than Dreams. But then like Dreams was a bit troubled because I remember that thing was in development for like years. Like
it was.
Keep seeing it at E3, but then it never actually came out.
It was also a really hard sell.
Yeah,
like it was like. It was harder to sell than Little Big Planet was because Little Big Planet was still a platformer when you bought it. You could still just do platforming things. There were levels that are already in there. Dreams from the beginning was like, build something.
Right.
Like, well, I don't know, like, what do you... Can I see examples? Build something.
Yeah.
Like, that was the entire game for a bit.
Like,
and then eventually you saw people who built stuff.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough. But you would have to wait it a while to really see that stuff. It's the same thing with Mario Maker. Mario Maker, at least the original Mario Maker, where you would buy it and you're like, this is neat, but I don't know, I'm not creative enough to make this work the way they want it to.
Or the Switch just Game Maker, that game studio game thing. I don't even remember what it was called.
I forgot what it was called too.
Like they had all that stuff, and boy, they made a big deal out of it. Then I feel like it was like, yeah, okay. But yeah, I think you're right in that there's a lot of companies that kind of want to get on this, like, I don't know, do your own thing. And it's like, my own thing is playing video games.
Yeah,
like, not making.
Yeah, I can make a stick figure, but then I don't know what to do after that point.
Right.
And like, there was some really, really cool stuff made in Dreams. But it still came down to the fact that you couldn't do anything outside of that. You couldn't make a whole game out of it.
Yeah.
You'd have to keep making specific things over and over again to maybe make something that resemble the game.
And like they it should have been on the PC as well. Like that's where you were going to do both. Actual development was going to be on the PC. Like it's kind of weird the idea that Dreams has PSVR support, but it wasn't on the PC, and
it was
like
very strange, that entire thing.
Okay,
and there was there were some really cool ideas. The same way a lot of other games are like that, where you build a thing, but it was harder to. It was really, really difficult to. Sorry, it was really, really difficult to advertise that game to anyone, even when it was done,
Yep.
and even when it was out.
Yep.
Because YouTubers weren't all over it going, I'm going to look at what fucking Rubber Ross made in Dreams. Like, no, he wasn't dealing with that shit. He was busy making Super Mario Maker levels, same as everybody else.
I mean, at least with Super Mario Maker levels, like we all understand. We've all got Mario baked in,
Yes,
right?
we know how to make a basic ass Mario level,
Right.
So I could make a Mario level that would be decent enough that I would be fine with.
Yeah.
I can't make whole characters out of nothing in Dreams like the way and make that shit work. Like you're giving me the world. The problem is I don't know what to do with the world.
Yeah.
I'm staring at it going, blue, I guess. And that's as far as I got.
Thanks?
Yeah.
Question mark?
And like again, they're very creative people who made that thing work.
Yep.
I'm not one of them.
Yep.
That's all it comes down
There's
to.
a lot of those D-makes, right? There's like
Yeah.
PS1 D-makes that were made in Dreams.
Also, people were just making like other games inside of it,
Yeah.
which almost got them sued.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I made a Super Mario, and you're like, you're not. Of course, Nintendo came in like a fucking train.
We literally had a story last week about how like there are kids in the Unreal editor or the Fortnite editor making like Call of Duty maps, and then like Epic was like, no, don't
do that.
Those are getting taken down. Everybody was like, oh, why? And I'm like, no, that's not allowed. Like, you can't just take somebody else's intellectual property, remake it in Fortnite, and be like, yeah, especially because Fortnite has revenue sharing.
Oh, 100%.
So you could be making money off of it, which is
Yeah.
a big no-no.
Halo Infinite, the reason they don't take that shit down is because they don't have anything like that.
Yep.
And also, a lot of the times, it's obvious that it's a Halo level.
Yep.
That's just made to look like one.
Too true. So yeah, Media Molecule is it's good that it's not shutting down. They're leaving like these kind of servers up so people can keep playing the game.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be actively involved in messing with it anymore. And as previously
here's the thing,
mentioned,
I had no idea they were even actively involved with it.
yeah. Yeah, as previously mentioned, they're also going off to do something new, some new project. I realized as I was researching this and thinking about Media Molecule that I don't like any of their games. Little Big Planet was like a mediocre side scroller, and I didn't like the cardboard aesthetic. Like, it all was just like, I don't, like, put stickers on it. I'm like, that's your job. I don't like, I came here to play, not to build. So
Well, it always came down to, I like the idea of this, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like you guys got that far in the actual planning of how to make this accessible to a guy like me.
yeah.
And then Mario Maker was like, what if we did that, but with Mario? And everybody was like, well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
And it worked out for them, but not so much for everybody else.
True. Let's see. From there, speaking of stuff that's not going to be around anymore, okay, this is another one where I'm just like,
This I heard about.
boy, I'm going to have to be a little mean about this one. So American McGee came out, and I know you're thinking, oh, shit, American McGee.
I didn't know he was a real person, to be honest. I assumed he was like a company.
I talked to him.
Really?
I angered him.
You angered American McGee?
Yeah, when I worked at Spill, I had an interview with him. In fact, I called him at the wrong time, and we woke him up. And so for a while, there was the meme on Spill that was like, "What time is it in Japan?" to Jeff, because I thought I had the I think. I was looking at like the Pacific time that I was supposed to call him, so I called him 2 hours earlier, and I called him at like 5 o'clock in the morning instead of like 9 a.m. when he was supposed to be awake. He got mad at me, and then he hung up, and then we had our interview later. But so
He was in a dream world, Jeff.
No.
He was in Wonderland, and you were like, "Get out of Wonderland, McGee! Get your ass out here. I have questions for you."
Diablo game that he was making that was kind of crazy.
I forget that was a thing.
Yeah. I feel like he got mad at me because I asked him like, well, why do I always make games that are just like fairy tale characters, but they're twisted? And he was like, well, it's not what I want to do, but like I made Bad Day LA and nobody liked it. And it was like, oh, okay, all right. Or like, I don't just do that. What about this game? And I was like, hey man, you're the fucking Alice guy, right? Like you haven't made a name for yourself outside of that.
No,
Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway.
Which brings us back to this.
For the last like 5 years, American McGee has had a Patreon, and that Patreon has been fully devoted to creating a pitch deck for American McGee to take to EA for a game called Alice
Asylum.
Alice Asylum, another Alice game. EA passed. this week.
Multiple times, apparently.
Yes. And American McGee put out a statement on his Patreon that basically said, like, I'm done. Not only does this represent us being done with trying to make this a thing, but I don't want to do game development anymore. I'm done. In fact, he said, I'm going to spend my time going forward, I will focus on my family and our family business, Mysterious. Do you know what Mysterious is?
No.
You ever heard of Mysterious?
It's a mystery to me.
Yeah. It's a shop where they sell like twisted stuffed animals with a bunch of stitches, and they're
that's
missing
him?
eyeballs and stuff. Yeah. And
I've seen those around.
big posters of Alice from Alice. Look, Michael, I don't really want to be a mean motherfucker here, but I feel like the tone of this was just like, so, I can't make the third Alice game, so I'm done. And it's like, I know that you've tried to make like 4 other games, and none of them have really been like very good.
Nothing's panned out for you, Mr. McGee.
So, you got a good name and you had a good idea, but I just don't think that there was any, like, I'm not sure if we gave American McGee unlimited resources, if we would have gotten Bad Day LA 2 and not like something. Alice was fine. It was fine, but
it was a big hit among a lot of people.
Very much
at the time.
A time and a place.
It came out of the right hot topic time frame.
Yes.
And my brother was really into it.
Yes.
I even bought him a figure that they made for it. I think at like a GameStop or something that I gave him for Christmas. And then they made a sequel, and I bought him that. And then he never touched it.
Yep.
And no one else did.
Yeah.
Because no one cared. It was past its time, and EA looked at it and said the same thing. Like, no one fucking cares anymore, McGee.
Yep. EA has first-person wizard games to make, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like,
we have knockoff FIFA games to make.
Yeah.
We don't need your Alice.
We got to make our own football club and Hexen 4. So.
Do you want us to put Alice in it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking us?
Wow. The Alice Asylum Design Bible is a 414-page PDF.
So,
Holy
Jeff, do you feel vindicated by waking up American McGee at 5 a.m?
No, I feel
like, fuck that guy.
Like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything.
No, I'm just fucking with it.
But it's like, the thing is that I've watched this guy try to get project after project off the ground, and I've actually played a lot of his projects. He had his own company called Spicy Horse, and then they did some like mobile development eventually, but they had a few things at this grim fairy tale thing, and they had this kind of it was like a Diablo game based on like Japanese mythology type of thing. It's just none of it was very good. It's kind of like being like, well, don't you feel bad for Cliff Bleszinski because he had to shut down Boss Key after Lawbreakers and Radical Heights failed, and it's like,
I forgot the names of those games entirely.
Not really, because neither of those games was very fun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't wish Cliff Bleszinski any more harm than I do American McGee. But like, if you put out a game and it's not fun, I'm not going to be like, hey guys, we should give them another chance. Like, they had a lot of chances, because you know what? I bought Calling All Cars as well, Mr. Bleszinski.
That's true.
And that was not a very fun game. So there has to be a point where, like, if you make mediocre game after mediocre game, eventually we're just going to be like, I'm not interested anymore. And
here's the main thing that this reeks of more than anything to me is I tried to get back to the one thing that actually made me really popular.
Yeah.
And they said no, and now I just feel sad.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do anything anymore because now they know they can't reach their peak anymore.
Yep.
And that is sad.
Which is
I won't
perfectly
lie.
fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. But it's just kind of weird that you tried to do this without getting permission to begin with.
Yeah.
You probably should have gotten them to give the okay before starting on this.
Yep.
I feel sorry for you, all the patrons, but at least they got something out of it. They got all the story ideas and the Bible and everything out of it.
And it isn't like Alice Madness Returns was a huge hit, and then like a year later American McGee was like, oh, we should do a third one. EA was like, well, show us that you can do it, and then we'll do it. Like, that was like, when was Alice Madness Returns? Was like 2011.
That was
like
almost
it's like a decade ago.
So long ago, guys.
And like, it's not like American McGee hasn't had chances to do other stuff. So I'm trying to be mean or anything.
No, we're not being mean. We're just making fun of him.
Yeah.
Completely opposite.
It's,
It's all in good humor.
hey, things could be worse. All right. You could work at a game company where your employee hits you in the head with a fucking fire extinguisher to try to kill you.
I'm sorry, what?
At Konami.
somebody mistake Konami for Silent Hill?
Nope. This was from. Well, what's funny is because it happened in Japan. There's a lot of information on this, including like just a direct admission of guilt from the guy that did it.
Oh my god! What the fuck happened?
So okay, a 41-year-old man who used to be on the same team as this boss who had put no names here. They said that the boss was bullying this guy, that he'd filed a complaint with HR about this like power harassment, where it's basically just like a boss that uses their power to fuck with somebody that they don't like on their team.
Yeah.
Which at Konami, shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
absolutely shocked.
The company that makes people that they don't like that leak stuff online go work in the health club, cleaning, like wiping down the loads in the sauna. Like, no, come on.
It's fucking insane to me still to this day.
So apparently, like, they got switched to another team, and it's unclear exactly what happened. But at some point, these two ran into each other, and then like the employee grabbed a fire extinguisher off the wall and hit the manager in the back of the head with the intention of killing him. Like, they literally have a quote. This is the quote from the Metropolitan Police Department. I was being harassed and I hit him with the intention of killing him. Like,
oh Jesus,
just straight up like admission. Just, you know, I know that it's not like I'm glad. No, the guy got arrested. The fire extinguisher guy is in the hospital. He's going to be fine. So I don't feel too bad making a joke about how like I really want to see this security footage and then put a bunch of Yakuza stuff over it, hitting somebody with a fire extinguisher a whole bunch of times.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's only funny because no one died.
Right.
But it's also like kind of amazing how quickly he was like, yeah, I tried to murder him, so what?
Well,
like,
you know, this is one of those things where apparently, like, as part of the story, it's like, yes, this man hit this other man in the head with a fire extinguisher and then was wrestled to the ground by all the people that were around. So this wasn't even like I waited until he was walking out to his car, then I ran up behind him to stab him, to leave him in the street so I could get away.
Yeah.
It was like this guy just snapped. He grabbed the nearest thing he could find and he tried to kill this guy with it, which makes me wonder, what the fuck happened? Like, what was the relationship between these two men?
How insane was that bullying?
Yes.
It turned into I Remember Larry from Weird Al Yankovic very fast.
Yeah.
Except he didn't get away with it.
Yes. So, yeah. Maybe the guy was like, fuck Castlevania. It's like, no, you'll never take me alive.
Fuck you, die, you monster. Hit it back of the head.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Jesus.
So, hey, when you're going about your life, maybe take a moment out of your day to be thankful that nobody hit you in the head with a fucking fire extinguisher today.
Damn. He must not have hit him hard enough. He didn't upgrade in strength points.
Speaking of stuff that's no good, let's talk about... No, okay. It's tangentially about Sonic, but it's not actually about Sonic. This is a very weird story. All right? You ready?
Yeah.
Put on your weird pants, everybody. It's time for weirdness. There is a company called Gamefam. Obviously, none of us have ever heard of this before.
Never heard of them.
Didn't know until I did this. They are a company. They're a company that makes games for Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft. So, like that Sonic game that was in Roblox that you could play that was licensed by like Sega, they made that Sonic game that is inside of Roblox. They're a company.
Oh, they were the one who made that thing?
Yeah. Or like they've made like, you know, you remember when the My Hero Academia thing came out for Fortnite and they had the little street attack mode?
Yeah.
There'd be a company that makes something like that. But they're a company. They're not like dudes. They're like an actual company. Like, it's funny because if you go to their website, it's a very strange website. Like if you look at this, it's like you go to our games and it's just a bunch of shit, obviously, that you and I have never heard of because, like,
yeah, these are stuff like looks like they made them all in Roblox.
Yes, these are all Roblox games. All of these are Roblox games. And then they also did the concert for the Chainsmokers and Sawiti, but then they also did some like Fortnite creative mode stuff and some Minecraft stuff. Anyway, so there was a guy named Joshua DeBoer, something like that, that worked there, that like kind of looked around one day and he was like, you know, what I'm doing is actually like not the job of like programmer one. I'm doing like the job of like senior programmer. And then like went out to the internet and was like, how much do senior programmers make a year? And was like, oh shit, like I'm doing far more than I have been than I'm being paid to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So then he went around to his coworkers and asked what they were doing and asked how much they made and found out that they were all being underpaid. Then he made a mistake because then he went to his boss.
Oh, God.
And said, hey, boss, seems like we're all being underpaid somewhat. I talked to everybody and it seems like nobody's getting paid for the actual type of work that they're doing. And his boss just like... He was like, do you think it's good to go among your colleagues and spread dissatisfaction? You need to be seen as a leader if you want to stay long here. Basically, he did that dumb boss thing that I think that somebody needs to pull all the bosses aside in 2023 and be like, if your employee comes to you and it's like, hey, I talked to everybody else who works at this company and it seems like we're all getting paid less. And they're like, oh, is that what you think? You need to shut your fucking mouth is what you need to do. You can't talk to people about stuff.
So they should realize that's a big no-no in the lawsuit world.
Yep. Then they, I believe that they fired him. And then he went to the NLRB and basically brought a lawsuit against them, and they paid him $5,000. Yeah. So maybe just don't go work for like the companies that make Sonic the Hedgehog for Roblox, because they sound like assholes.
Yeah, don't work for this company.
Yeah,
is the lesson here. Actually,
yes.
That's not really the lesson here. The lesson here is pay your employees what they're worth, and then if they ask about it, don't threaten them.
Yeah. Yes.
Instead, take the L and pay them.
Yes.
The end of story.
Especially because there was an announcement from the company that they had like $25 million from investors for doing all this stuff because, you know, making shit for Fortnite and Roblox, that's big money. It can be.
Pays them quite a bit, especially since the Sonic the Hedgehog one was a tie-in to the movie.
Yes.
So they must have got a good chunk of cash for that one.
Did he get fired? I don't know if he got fired. Let's see. Suggesting... Oh, he put him on paid leave, suggesting that he had time to determine whether or not he wanted to be a team player or like a problem person.
Open and shut case, you dumb idiots.
And so then he talked to the NLRB, and they basically were like, yeah. Like, he can't do... Yeah, so...
That is 100% retaliation.
Yes.
That's not even like a subtle one.
Nope.
That was absolutely fuck you mode.
Yep. Don't do that. That's a stupid thing to do.
Jesus Christ.
Speaking of stupid bosses, okay, here's a weird story. Did you read about this AEW thing?
No.
Okay, so they've got the AEW wrestling game that's being made by Ukes, right?
Yeah.
In a Q&A on after one of the AEW shows, Tony Khan, who's the owner of AEW, was asked he was asked about the game in like a press conference, and he said the game was like it's basically done. You know, we could kind of put it out like whenever. We just need to kind of get a few things in order. Blah 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 blah. And so from there, people like came at the THQ Nordic's community manager, saying like, hey, do you care to comment on the fact that the guy said that this game is done and that we don't have even like a release date for it yet? And this person came back and said, I mean, if you want an unfinished game, sure, we could release now. The game is doing really well and getting there, but not 100%. So yeah, just another rumor on Twitter, I fear.
It's not a rumor if the guy says that.
So, but here's the twist in the story.
What's the twist?
They put out a list of what all has to be done before the game is finished, because there's 3 there's 3 companies involved here. There's AEW, THQ Nordic, and then Ukes, and they're the ones that are making this. And here's the list of things that need to be finished before it can ship. Pass QA tests, get localized in 7 languages, get polished, have retailer and shipping deals, get submitted to first-party platforms, get optimized in every platform, have marketing and public relation plans, get an ESRB rating.
Oh.
So, actually, if that's where the game is, that kind of is basically finished.
Well,
like
that's exactly what he said, basically.
Yeah,
he just doesn't know what the rest of that meant.
Right. A lot of that is admin, right? Like a lot of that is putting stuff together. And I'm not saying that it's not work, but like this is feature complete. And so, yes, you've got some bugs that need to get done. You have some polish that needs to get done. You have some optimization that needs to get done. But like the game, they aren't adding more people or modes. Like that stuff from this list, at least, is like, this is the stuff that has to be finished up before you can ship a game, but it's not the core part of the game.
No.
So if you had a build of a game that still needed these things that were done and you handed it to somebody, they could play it, right? It wouldn't be an alpha. It wouldn't even be a beta. It would mostly be complete. Like it may not run super well, depending if you're running it on anything but like dev hardware, right?
It's still
it may
like
have bugs.
somewhat beta depending how much get polished means.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes. But it was funny because I was reading this and I was like, yeah, stick it to the man. I'm Jeff and I'm with the workers. And then I got down this part and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that is kind of done.
It is actually a lot more done than it's more done than like his statement is actually not untrue.
Right.
It's just it's not hasn't gone gold is really what is where it's at right now.
What I'd be willing to bet is that they installed it and let him play it. And he played it, and he was like, "Oh God, this is like." And they were like, "Well, what other wrestlers do you have to add?" And they're like, "Oh no, they're all in there." Like, "Oh, okay. Do you have more modes to add?" They're like, "No, play whichever mode you want." And they like to let him play with it for like 4 or 5 hours, and then he walked away, and he was like, "That's pretty much done, man." Like,
I guarantee you somebody accidentally said, "Well, it's almost done."
Yeah,
like we're pretty much done. We have some stuff we have to take care of.
Yes,
and we don't want to get too into the details with you about what needs to be done. Just know that everything's going smoothly is probably what was said to him.
Right,
and he took that as everything's completely done, and it's only going to take like another little bit of time. Who knows?
On the other hand, if I was Ukes and THQ Nordic came after they heard this to me and they were just like, "Hey man, he said it was done. How quick can we get this done?" And you just be like, "Guys, you do not want to release a wrestling game that it's not bulletproof."
Yeah,
like you do not want a fucked up wrestling game around. It will fuck you up in the long run. Like
I can show you many examples of what happened last time.
Ones that they made.
Yeah, that they themselves did.
Like
so just don't fuck this up is really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
people are very excited for this,
especially because AEW is so new, right?
Yes,
you don't want the first game that they come out of the gate with to be garbage. You want it to be like, oh my god, it's wonderful, and I never want to play WWE again.
Yeah, they're like the only WWE rival at this point,
especially because according to John and at least saw on RageSelect, right, the WWE games of the new one is really good. So it's like
that's true.
You do have to compete with like a pretty good version. So
that's good.
Let's see from there. We got to go back to Dark and Darker. Not for anything that's happening right now. This is the stupidest thing. This is the stupidest and funniest thing I've ever heard. Okay, so when we last left off, Nexon had said that the Dark and Darker developers had stolen their intellectual property and they copied their game, and so they were taking them to court. They were got him DMCA'd off of Steam. All this bullshit's happening, and Dark and Darker is fighting back against Nexon. Meanwhile, a UK software engineer has decided that because he's on sabbatical and can't find a job, that he's going to remake Dark and Darker in the Unreal or in the Fortnite creative mode.
Oh my god!
So yeah. What he showed was basically a video of like the map from what was currently existed in Dark and Darker with like, you know, some kind of basic Fortnite stuff going on. But you know what? Doesn't look too bad. Like,
no, it doesn't. It's just there happens to be a Fortnite guy walking in the middle of it.
Yep. And it's like, okay, so then Michael, does Iron Mace then sue this guy for ripping off Dark and Darker, and then use the money that they win from this guy to sue, to counter sue, or to defend Nexon, who claimed that they stole their ID?
It's like a turducken.
Or is it possible that this guy creates Dark and Darker before their lawsuit has been finished, and everybody just likes this mode better than the actual game, and then the game releases to thunderous meh because
That would be
a
the
version.
funniest thing ever. This guy has a chance to do the funniest thing ever.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Anyway, Fortnite creative looks it looks really nice because
People
of all
are really
the
creative.
it was interesting because this guy's a software developer, and he was like, well, I wanted to get up to date with Lumen and Nanite and all the UE5 stuff.
Yeah.
So I decided to like just take the existing map that we've seen from Dark and Darker and then see if I could just make it in Fortnite. And it's like, all right. And he wants to add more to it and put it out eventually. So
That's amazing.
we'll see what happens.
It's so fucking funny.
See what happens. Let's see. Speaking of taking stuff from other developers, Unreal Elder Scrolls Online is in a bit of hot water.
What do they do now?
Well, let's see. They posted these new tattoos, right, that are on these characters. Now, okay, sometimes, Michael, we get into stories where it's like, you can't put a sword on a guy's forehead. I already drew a sword on a guy's forehead. And you look at it and you're like, you can't own sword on guy's forehead.
Yeah.
However, in this case, here is the art that this artist, let me make sure that I call them out, this Relin Davath. Oh, God. Posted on their Tumblr account this Elder Scrolls Online fan art. Pay close attention to this guy here on the left. And now look at this shoulder. And it is,
oh my God,
exactly that. It is like 1-to-1. This has been flipped and put right here. You can see the little flames coming off right here. You can literally even see like the arm boom right there. This is just like straight up. They took the guy's stuff.
Yeah, that's straight up. That is that fucking dude's thing.
Yes.
This reminds me of what happened with Call of Duty with the dog outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. Except this is like even worse because this is just like, it's just that.
Well, yeah, this is literally the exact art.
Yeah.
All they did was they removed the thing that's holding in his hand.
Yep.
And then just splattered it on a character.
Yeah. What's strange, though, is that the response from Bethesda was, we are aware of the situation with the ESO fan artist. It was never our intention to include any community fan art without proper credit. We are in contact with the artist and will work with them to make sure that there is a proper resolution. What I'm curious about, though, this is one of those things that doesn't make any sense to my Jeff brain, is it's like, okay, so you're a guy that's working at Elder Scrolls Online, and they're like, we need tattoos. We need like a tattoo set for like whatever this new release is. And like, oh, okay, cool. Let me go to the Elder Scrolls Online Tumblr and see if I can rip anything off from there. Oh, look, there's something that looks pretty cool. Let me just lift that directly into Photoshop and then just wrap it around a character. I'm sure nobody will ever find out. And it's like, why would you think that? Why would you think that nobody would find that out? Like,
here's the deal, Jeff.
Yeah.
The people are stupid. And so what happened was a stupid person was told to make something, and they're like, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I will buy Krusty Burger burgers and pass them off as my own cooking. And then proceeded to do such a thing.
I guess.
And then the internet was like, these are clearly Krusty Burgers. And the only difference is that he couldn't pretend that Aurora Borealis was behind him.
Right.
So he got caught.
I mean, like, why not just put that shit into like Midjourney and then just have it redo it and then take whatever it comes up with and put that on your guy? Like,
yeah, that would have been more arguable against the guy.
Or hey, here's the thing. Why don't you go find a game that nobody would connect to Elder Scrolls Online, or just do a search online for like tattoo guy, and then because these tattoos, this design is not so Elder Scrolls. Like, I wouldn't look at this and immediately go, ah, yes, Elder Scrolls. That's certainly an Elder Scrolls design. Like, you just go get something from somewhere else. Or you could take this and you could alter it a little bit. You could just change it up a little bit so that you could make a case that...
Yeah, the altering is really what he should have done, is he should have grabbed this and altered it a bunch to make it obvious that it wasn't it anymore.
Yep.
Because fun fact, tattoos are IP copyright doable now, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't get which is the reason the Mike Tyson tattoo thing happened.
Yeah.
When they put it on Ed Helms' face in the second one, and they didn't ask him for permission for it.
Oh.
So that set a precedent that you need to get the permission from the tattoo artist who made the design to put it in anything.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons he probably couldn't just Google tattoo thing, but he was too lazy to really do anything outside of that.
Okay.
It's such a stupid thing to do.
So stupid.
I don't understand why this guy thought this would work out for him. He really does not.
Oh, look, they also took this little heart. It was right there.
Oh God,
right
yeah,
on the arm. And then I even noticed this from the thing is they've got this like hand inside of a triangle, which this has just been redesigned to be that. Like,
you want to know? I know why this is a bad idea. Is very obvious. Besides what has actually happened.
Yeah.
I was on Twitter today. Somebody found a torn piece of a comic book, just the smallest part of the corner, and said, "What comic is this from?" Within 30 minutes, somebody told them the exact Fantastic Four comic it was, with the exact number and the image in full, and within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That was just that, and it was like covered in dirt. This is like a super obvious way of fighting this.
Yeah, I don't know.
The internet's gonna find out no matter what it is, dude.
I don't know how you do this. Let's see. Oh boy. Okay, we gotta keep moving. RE4 added in the mercenaries mode and also microtransactions.
Yes. I saw it on my PS5 a couple days ago too.
Yeah. So here's the deal. There's been some wailing and gnashing of teeth. I do think that regardless, I don't actually think that these are incredibly egregious because they're just the things that you need to upgrade to unlock like the tippy top thing from your gun. You can get those by playing through the game. The game is not actually that difficult. It's not that long. However, I'm philosophically opposed to adding microtransactions several weeks after the game is out.
Yes. This has happened a number of times now, and it's usually after it's been reviewed. Yeah. Because you can't go back on reviews, especially on Metacritic. Metacritic doesn't update stuff like that. So even if somebody in IGN decided to go, I'm going to knock a point. Yeah. Because the microtransactions, they can't update the Metacritic score for it.
Right.
It's also a vice versa thing. So, but this is frustrating only in the fact that there was no mention that this would ever possibly happen in any shape, way, or form. Yeah. But the reason it's not egregious, like you said, is that they didn't go back and update the game to now be harder and make it harder to get upgrades, luckily. Yeah. Like they did to, which one was it? Middle Earth one was it?
Shadow of War?
Shadow of War? Where Shadow of War completely fucked the entire game. Yeah. To make you try to do something like that. Yeah. Where this is just like, this is more like what happened to Devil May Cry 4 and 5. Yes. Which is where you don't have to buy the blood stuff or the demon blood to upgrade your stuff faster. Mm-hmm. You can if you want to. It's just, it's there for you. It's just that exact same thing.
It's also like I beat RE4. I think I got like one gun because the thing is that to unlock that you can buy these tickets from using the spinels that you get from doing the subquests from the vendor, from the what do you buy in guy, right? Yeah. Or you can just pay money and upgrade the guns, like not real money, but like the in-game, the pesetas. Yeah. And you can upgrade the guns. And once you've unlocked everything, you can unlock the kind of like, it's like a final modifier where like for the submachine gun, your bullets now penetrate. Or for like the knife, it's like, it's 1.5x speed or something like that. Yeah. This is not as egregious to me as a lot of that stuff because you could totally earn these rewards in the game. There's 2 of them that are available for spinels in the game, and that shop that has the spinels in it is garbage. There's not a lot of really good stuff in there.
Not really.
And it's also not difficult to just get them just by playing through the game. Like, not even like replaying or anything, but just playing through the game regularly. You're going to get enough money to upgrade guns. Like, it's built into the progression path of the game. So, but it's still a big bag of dicks when they add something like this after the fact. So,
yeah, what makes it frustrating is that when people don't say anything, They just think it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's fine at first because you're like, well, they didn't do anything to it. But then it escalates from there. And that's really what it comes down to. You want to nip that at the bud first.
Yep.
Before it becomes a real big issue.
Woo. All right. We're going to start cutting. We're going to start cutting. After we talk about this stupid Resident Evil trailer, did you watch the Resident Evil, what was it? What's it called? Death Island?
I've
Death
seen
Island?
a lot of clips of it from the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's real dumb.
It's the Avengers of Resident Evil, except that all of the protagonists of Resident Evil are just people in clothes, or just white people. So it's like Chris, Jill, Leon, Claire, and Rebecca Chalmers.
I don't remember what her last name is, to be honest.
And they all got to go to Alcatraz because there's something going down on the Alcatraz Island. And what's funny is that it's like what they should. This is a little Avengers shot, but they all just have handguns. And I'm like, I played Resident Evil. I know you guys have more than handguns. Like you've got rocket launchers and machine guns. And I just finished upgrading the street sweeper to level 1 billion. Like,
well, my favorite thing about this trailer is Chris's shirt. Not in this shot. But
his Hawaiian shirt.
His Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Because somebody was like, "We're going to an island," and he didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah.
And decided to show up as a vacationer.
Right.
And also, Jill has not aged since Resident Evil 3, apparently.
Nope. Well, no, but they literally talk about Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
In the trailer, they talk about how she got taken over by Wesker.
Everybody's aged up a bit except for her, and it's really funny.
Yeah. It looks really stupid. Like, it looks so stupid that it might be fun. Like that one scene where they're shooting at each other, like from a foot away.
Yeah, this looks more like the dumb fun ones compared to the just really dumb one they came out with on Netflix that they called a show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm using quoting finger because it wasn't a show. It was one of these movies they split into 3 or 4 parts.
Yeah.
And yeah, this looks more stupid fun, and I'm actually kind of excited about that idea.
Yep. It's silly.
It's really silly.
It's really silly. Anyway, speaking of movies, The Last of Us Part 1 on the PC got a patch, but more importantly, both versions got some DLC. Ellie has some new shirts. One is a Mortal Kombat 2 shirt, which is a little strange.
Well, it's because of it showing up in the show.
Right. And then also The Wire, a The Wire T-shirt.
That's just random as hell. I get why they did it, but it doesn't make it any more random.
I mean, obviously it's the post-apocalypse, so Ellie hasn't actually seen The Wire.
No, she has no idea what any of it means.
And so that means that she's never going to find out how awesome Stringer Bell is, or Omar. She's never going to know about Omar coming.
Did you ever watch that movie? I forgot. Goddamn, I already somehow forgot the name of it. Oh no, I think it's just called "It's a Disaster." It's about this set of couples who have a sort of dinner party when like a bunch of like a terrorist attack sort of happens outside and causes a bunch of gas to happen. And in the movie, they're like, "I'm gonna die before I ever saw The Wire." He's like, "Oh, actually, that is a really good show. That actually might be something sad. Actually, now that's the only thing that's actually worth it that people say you should have done before you die."
Yeah, it's a little strange. It's a little bizarre. The Wire of all the things,
they added a shirt to was The Wire.
I mean, I guess they're like, well, should we put Game of Thrones on there? And it's like, no. Well, what about True Blood? And they're like, no, the implications are no good there.
Every HBO show they went with The Wire.
Yeah,
you know what? Sure, go for it.
Sure. Let's see. I've cut a lot of stories, so let's just do this last one. Or no, a couple more. Tekken 8 is getting crossplay.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. Apparently, Harada has wanted crossplay in Tekken for a while. In fact, he talked about how the last time he wanted to do it, that was when Sony was still acting like a fucking weirdo about it.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't do it, but now they've loosened it up, and so crossplay. We're going to get some crossplay.
And he did it nonchalantly on Twitter.
Yep.
Someone just asked him, "Hey, is crossplay a thing?" He's like, "Sure." and then they asked him about something else. He's like, "This is what's wrong with you people. I give you one thing and then you ask for more."
Yeah.
He's like, just pay attention to the game is pretty much what he said after that.
Let's see. I also definitely should have put this somewhere else, but do you remember when we saw that that video where they showed remastering Morrowind in real time?
I do.
Using a ray
I bring it up all the time, actually.
Yeah, the RTX Remix.
Yeah.
They put out the first version of RTX Remix today to the actual public. So it's not everything, at the moment. Like eventually it's going to be RTX Remix Creator Toolkit, but right now they put out the free RTX Remix, and it lets modders jump in to a few things. So capture a scene and replace the assets in real time while checking RTX technology. There's probably some stuff that's not there. This article isn't super specific on it, but I, for one, am incredibly excited for when this gets out in the world, because the 20 out of 200 that you were talking about is going to take this shit and then they're going to go remaster No One Lives Forever 2 as soon as Matt and I finish playing it, and I'm going to be like, son of a bitch, we got to start over again.
That's why you played the first one when they remastered that one.
Yes. No, the first one isn't as good.
Well, that's why they're going to make it good, Jeff, with remastering it.
But yeah, I'm really like, the thing that's so interesting about DLSS, this RTX stuff, is that it's like between the AI upsampling and the lighting sources and stuff, and it's just like, oh, we don't need the companies to remaster this shit anymore. We're just gonna go remaster it our own self.
Yeah. Although people have tried that a bunch of times and they always get sued.
Well, there is that.
Still waiting on that Metal Gear Solid one, guys. I know you're still out there hiding in the shadows.
Metal Gear Solid needs more work than that. Of course, you know.
Well, they were trying. That's the last thing I heard. That was years ago.
Here's the thing. Oh God, we don't have time for things, but there's a thing anyway. I listened to a Triple Click podcast, and Schreier was just like, yeah, I'm like 99% certain that Konami is doing an MGS3 remaster. And I was like, well, I would definitely play that. I would love to play an MGS3 remaster. But then he was like, I hope they make it so that it has the like equipment deployment system from 5, but in 3. And I was like, no,
definitely not.
And like, I don't even really want the combat system from 5 and 3. It would make things too easy.
Very easy. Very quickly, too.
But I would like to play a remaster of MGS. I would like a reason to play MGS3, even though keen-eyed listeners will remember that this channel has already played through MGS3 all the way. I tried to get Jason interested in that game for months, and no, sir. He was uninterested from start to finish. So
he tried.
He did try. He did try. I bet Jason would be better interested though in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which we finally got our final trailer for it. This is a better trailer than any of the rest of the ones they put out. They should have started with this one.
Well, that seems to be the theme lately.
Yeah,
which is that when somebody comes up with the final trailer for something, they end up adding all the shit you want to see from it.
Right.
Like between this and Zelda.
Yeah.
But this looks really. I'm actually very excited for this game the most because of this trailer. Because they showed off some really cool things.
It looks a lot better here than it has in previous trailers for some reason. Like,
well, it's because there's a lot of big action set pieces that they show off just how much more they're using the PS5 for it. Because prior to this, we were just seeing things that just reminded us more of the first game.
Yeah.
Where this one, I feel like, is actually showing off more of what they've done change-wise, as well as, like, just how much nicer it looks.
Yeah, it looks significantly better than the first one.
100%.
But what's weird is that I don't feel like that was coming through for me in the previous trailers. Like,
I don't think it was for me either, is the thing.
It looked better, but it didn't look like this much. I feel like this looks like a better game than the last trailer I watched for this game, which was like a week ago or something. Like, I don't know
strange,
why it looks so much better, but it looks really good. And coming out at the end of April.
I'm very excited.
So not too long.
And I was very lukewarm on the first one, to be honest.
Yeah.
But everything I've heard from previews is everyone said everything that was like wrong with the first game, they've tightened up. And also, he doesn't have the Metroid issue where he fell down and hit his head and forgot everything.
Yeah.
He starts off with all his shit from the first one.
Good.
Or at least all his like moves and stuff. I don't know about equipment. But yeah.
I just hope that they fix the map. That was really the biggest problem that I had, was the map.
Also, maybe a poncho outfit again.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I don't know.
Did you see that he did like an interview or something and he came out wearing a poncho?
No.
I saw this recently on Twitter. They're like, he's obsessed with ponchos. It shows him like, they're like, here's the guy. I forget the actor's name. It's like, here he is. And he comes out just wearing a poncho.
Yeah.
I was like, good for him.
You can have
doing the joke.
You can have a beard now, I guess.
Yeah, you can have a mullet now.
Oh, Jesus. All
and
right.
a lot of people are excited to yeehaw their shit in the Star Wars.
There you go. Let's see. Fortnite is got that they got their full Attack on Titan thing going on. The trailer this week that showed they also are putting Levi and Mikasa in, as well as Eren, and the ODM gear, which is going to be like the All Might Smash, where you pick it up on the map and then you can use it briefly.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Michael, this is a weird thing for me. I don't know if this is just because of the way this trailer is made, but Levi and Mikasa's faces look wrong. Wrong. Like,
Oh, it's the same issue people had with Goku's face.
yeah.
Is that somebody was asked to work on it, and they got up to a certain point and then kind of just stopped.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm seeing with Levi's face. Like, I feel Levi, if you just changed the position of his face,
Yeah.
it would work better.
Levi looks high as hell.
And Mikasa just looks off. It's the best way I can put it. I don't really know how to explain it other than that.
She's very aggressive, and her like resting face here, her resting Fortnite face is just too neutral.
Yeah.
Like they show this where she's a little angrier. Like this final part of this trailer, like these are better faces. They're not the best, but they're better.
Yeah, those are like the load screens you probably get for them. And they are out right now, is the thing.
Yeah.
And I know, people had issues with that with Goku's, and they fixed it kind of with Gohan's face. And I feel like
I didn't think the All Might or the Goku or Deku ones were bad. Like
all the My Hero ones, solid.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was between those two of them, but for some reason, there's a specific guy who's half-assing some of these, and that's a little disappointing.
Also, they added the secret Jaeger basement into the map.
Really?
Which is like such a weird deep cut for My Hero Academia, where it's like
for Attack on
Titan.
Yeah.
Like it's this thing that it takes them like a bunch of seasons to finally like do that. They get there. Very strange.
Yeah, it was a huge like teaser in the first season.
Yeah,
just constantly they're like, "What's in the basement, guys?" And then it
took them like 3 more seasons to get back to it.
Yeah, it took them years for you to finally. Like, I'd forgotten it was a thing by the time somebody was like, "They finally opened the basement." Like, the what? I completely. That's still a thing, I guess. And the weird thing are the Titan run emotes. I don't know if that was in the past release or not.
Oh,
but they just look hysterical.
Oh, is that what those like Wookieer things are doing at the beginning?
Yeah,
these guys.
All 3 of those are like a specific one. One of them is doing like one of them is basically doing the I'm gonna fling my arms around like this, and if you get hit by it, it's your own fault.
Right.
The other one is doing like that weird like
the kind of prancy.
That one like where they have their hands like really close to themselves.
Yeah.
The other one's like doing finger guns in the air.
Yeah, I don't know what the finger guns one is.
And I'm like, where did this fucking come from?
I don't know,
because I haven't been keeping up with the show in a long time, so it might be in there. I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
No, I have been keeping up with the show, and
then I have no idea.
I mean, outside of season 4, outside of
maybe it's a manga thing,
outside of the final season of Attack on Titan Part 1, Episode 2, Part 2, when the Finger Gun Titan came out. Outside of that, I haven't seen any finger guns on the Titans.
Yeah, those are currently available, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. We got a little bit more anime. Gundam Evolution has some new stuff.
So I found out about this because my friend sent this to me.
Oh, okay.
Because this is, besides Heavy Arms being my favorite Gundam, there's another Gundam that I also am completely obsessed with that showed up in Gundam 00.
And is it this one?
Yes,
okay.
It is the Dynamis.
Yeah.
He is my second favorite Gundam.
Holy shit! Are you playing this?
I've touched it here and there, but I haven't been playing that often.
Okay.
The Dynamis is basically the Heavy Arms of the 00 universe, but he's a sniper. He also had a twin. He's also has the funny trope in anime where there's a twin, when then the original one dies and the twin just becomes the original.
Okay.
But I always really like that Gundam a lot, and I also have a model kit of him too. Me and my friend Hilario, those are our 2 guys, is the 00 and the Dynamis. So we were both very excited.
Wow. All right. Seems like a good time for you and the Gundam Overwatch. Watch.
When it happened, I was like, who's watching me? Somebody's clearly wants me to keep playing this game.
Yeah.
And spend money on this because I'm going to.
Oh, there you go. Let's see. Ghostwire Tokyo got PS5 launch along with an update trailer. They showed the Spiders thread which appears to just be like some kind of what's that thing in video games where there's like multiple floors and then it randomizes and every floor has a different challenge on it.
I don't remember the name of it.
If you die, you go back to the beginning type of thing.
It's I don't remember the exact naming of it because it's basically what Persona does.
Yeah.
Because there is an actual name for it. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
I will say that they said there's like new powers, new enemies, new story added in. It makes me want to go back and maybe give Ghostwire a second try because I found it kind of repetitive. But
because all this stuff came out on the Xbox version as well.
Yeah.
The same day as the Xbox version came out.
Yes.
And it was I want to say it was a free update for the original one, but I can't remember. But I'm excited the fact that they made sure it's on the PS5 as well.
Yeah.
Because this is a game that a lot of people either really like or they're just kind of okay on.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, really, when it comes down to certain games, because I'd rather just have okay up to, like, really good than just have somebody say, oh, it's terrible. So,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get another try at some point.
I actually might finally give it a try, because I know it's on the PlayStation's Plus's thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Whatever their Game Pass name was. I forgot what they call it.
PlayStation Plus Premium,
something like
Ultimate,
that.
whatever.
As far as I know, it's on that. Because a lot of people have been rediscovering it because of that.
Okay. V Rising got an official cinematic trailer for expansion Secrets of Gloomrot. With a cool Frankenstein. This is coming out on May 17th, and it's going to be a free update that has like a new area. So this is like 13 new bosses, and then like the ability to make multi-level castles, which you couldn't do before.
Oh, that's fun.
V Rising rules. I played the hell out of that for like 2 weeks straight. So
okay. What is this called again? Secrets of Gloomrot.
Secrets of Gloomrot. What they really need to do, though, is get V Rising onto consoles.
Yeah, they should eventually. There's probably somebody who is working on it, but they just haven't figured it out.
Yeah, especially because of the multiplayer aspect of it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Woof. That'd be really good. Yep. Let's see. Out of nowhere, there's Trine 5. Trine 5 was announced.
Why does that sound familiar?
Trine is the one with the 3 characters, the wizard and the knight and the rogue that switch places.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I forgot about that.
There's a new Trine game, and yeah, it was announced and it's coming out this year.
Okay, well, good for them.
It's called A Clockwork Conspiracy. It seems like it has something to do with the actual meta plot for Trine, which I have no idea what that is because I don't
either.
I never played all the way to the. I've enjoyed what I've played of these games well enough, but I've never wanted to keep playing them all the way to the end. But yeah, it's coming out later this summer, I believe.
Good for them.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a full-on release date yet, but looks Triny as hell. Looks super Triny. So we'll see how that goes. I didn't know this had happened, but Boundary got a launch, which is that sci-fi, like astronaut Call of Duty game.
So it's launching like fully?
It's in early access. It launched in early access. The thing is that I went to the Steam page. I don't know. We still might end up playing it at some point on RageSelect. I went to the Steam page and people were downvoting it, and it was because like the servers are worldwide, and then people from China are like remoting into other people's servers with super high pings, and then kind of like using client-side hit prediction to like cheat. Basically,
that's a shame.
But I mean, I don't know. That's the kind of thing that gets sorted out eventually. So it's in early access. The reason for early access is to
iron out
see what the problems are. Anyway, this is like the NASA Call of Duty. You're fucking blasted the International Space Station to pieces.
Yeah, I like this idea a lot. I'm always happy when somebody looks at a shooter and is like, what weird ass thing can we add to this to make it more interesting? And it's actually very refreshing when that works out.
Yep. I agree. Let's see. Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun got a release date.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like this had one trailer. This was announced last year or something like that.
Yeah, it had like one, because I actually ended up writing the article on this one. They had one release trailer at like at a Warhammer event last year, and then they came out with the trailer, and then it revealed that there's going to be a voice actor for the main character.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
He's going to be voiced by Rahul Kohli.
Okay.
He's he was the sheriff in what the fuck was the name of that show? I can't remember the name, but Midnight Mass.
Okay.
He was a sheriff in that, but I knew him from a lot of other stuff before that point. But he's one of those guys that's like one of the celebrities that's a big fan of the series, and they asked him if he wanted to do it. He was very excited.
Okay.
So yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't remember, that's the boomer shooter in the Warhammer 40k universe.
Yes. I also found out like how they made some of that stuff is because there's a PlayStation blog for it too, showing off like some of the stuff they did for it, like the AI working that they did for the enemy stuff, and that they're all 3D models just made to look like that.
We didn't even mention it, but back at that Final Fantasy 16 State of Play, they talked about how like the teammates will like use advanced AI to react to what you're doing, and it's like, don't you invoke that just because it's a trendy thing. Like, there's no AI with these guys. They're going to tackle your target, move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. That Killer Frequency game got a release date.
Oh.
It's the game where you're playing as like a radio DJ that's trying to keep people from getting murdered by a serial killer that's on the loose. That seems like a kind of an interesting concept. It's going to be just on basic like systems, but then it's also going to be on the Quest 2 as a VR game.
Oh, okay. That could be fun.
Yeah, coming out June 1st. Seems pretty cool. And then the last trailer, next last trailer, but this is the weirdest thing of all the things to be remastered, Michael. The last one that I expected was Zool.
Oh my god, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, not the Ghostbusters villain, but like the weird intergalactic ninja platformer that came out for like the Sega Genesis or something like that.
It was a Genesis game, and I almost forgot it existed.
Yeah,
until this, a memory has been unlocked in my brain. Is what has just happened right now.
Yeah. This looks terrible.
It looks like a game that came out in 1992.
Right. It was like a game that wasn't good enough for me to play in 1992.
Well, there's a reason no one has thought about Zool in 20 years.
Now, I would play James Pond or James Pond 2 Robocod.
I would play that, yes.
But not Zool. Still, it's coming May 16th, so who knows?
What I love about the internet is that there's always a guy who's like, I want to make a game, but I don't want to work at designing it all. What game has nobody touched in 20 years?
Well, also, it's not like they super duper remastered it. It's like they just clean. They're still sprites. They're still like hard pixel-based sprites.
They just made everything a lot cleaner, I guess, and they probably updated the control scheme.
And then 16:9, and that looks like it's about it.
And it's not like, and so far it doesn't look like a bad version of it. So, because that does happen. Well, somebody remasters something and just makes a terrible version of it.
I mean, if you want to play Zool, this seems like a good way to play Zool.
Yeah. Good for you guys.
Let's see.
Good for the two of you who remembered Zool existed.
We're not going to talk about the trailer. I might talk about it next week, but that Immortals of Avium, the EA shooter thing that came out with the trailer right before we started, is getting released in July.
Oh.
So
is it this July?
Yes.
Okay, that's even weirder.
Yes.
Because this was the first trailer I think I've ever actually remember seeing about it.
Well, there was the one from the Game Awards.
Well, that was the thing. But that wasn't that like this very like.
Also, sorry, this is
trailer.
This is it's towards the end. I'm starting to get tired. This is a leaker. This is like a tipster, right?
Oh.
So this isn't like an official thing. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, they've got a pretty decent track record, but who knows? A lot of stuff is coming out in July, you know.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing, to be honest, because we always say more stuff should come out in the summer.
Yep. Ravenlock, which we had previously seen, I also think at the Game Awards. It was the one that was made by
I do remember that.
The Generation Zero, the kind of voxel-based square chunky thing. May 4th. It got a release date as well. So
this is what they did instead of Alice.
Yes, exactly.
Take that, American McGee. We're still making fun of you.
Not making fun. Endless Dungeon got delayed until October. So that happened. I don't know. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Apparently they need more work. They need more time to do work. Yeah.
They were never going to release it.
Here's some weird stuff, though. Apparently they're making a company is making a tie-in to that Renfield movie.
Oh my god.
A game tie-in, and it's just vampire survivors, but with like some sprites that somewhat resemble the Renfield guy from the movie. but
That's
it's
interesting.
just kind of auto shooter type of thing. Yeah, apparently it's in. That's the weirdest thing. It's in early access right now, which I guess Vampire Survivors is technically also in early access, so you can add more stuff to it.
I guess that's true. That's
yeah.
fascinating. Yeah, Tessa got to see the press screening for that one.
Yeah.
So if you ask them about it whenever they come on.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now for a few fun things. You remember I was talking about people being super horny for stuff?
Yeah.
Apparently right now TikTok is super horny for the narrator from the Stanley Parable.
Oh my God. He's been waiting forever for that.
Specifically shipping the narrator from the Stanley Parable and Stanley.
Not the bucket?
Not the bucket.
The bucket's way better.
No. Well, I'm not getting the impression that these people are really just like...
Well, maybe it's because the bucket's too good for him.
Yeah.
The bucket's too good for all of them. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I looked at this and I don't really know exactly how TikTok works, but
I don't know how TikTok works either, which is how we get horniness like this to come up.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how you. It was very strange. It's like, I don't know. They draw Stanley, they draw the narrator, and then they have them look at each other as anime boys with like red cheeks and like sweat and like, oh, blah blah senpai, and I'm just like, wait, what? Why?
The
What?
internet can make everything horny for everything, and I would never understand how they do it.
Yeah,
these are disembodied voices, and
Yeah.
they still did it. They still figured it out.
I remember when I watched a video where somebody explained how Tumblr wanted to ship the Onceler from the Lorax, but there's nobody in the Lorax that they could ship the Onceler with, so they started shipping the young Onceler with the old Onceler, and it's like, cool, Tumblr.
That raises so many questions.
Good job. Good job. So
they couldn't have him fuck a tree or something? That would have made more sense.
Yep. Nope. Apparently not.
Jesus Christ, people.
Yep. There's a lot of this.
Why are there so many of these?
I don't know.
This game has been out for a long time. And somebody discovered it and started this.
I don't know.
The way they started Mouse Ashley.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand Meowshley, though, because that shit was adorable.
It was adorable.
I don't really understand why this is happening now.
Somebody started it, Jeff. Somebody started it, and it escalated from there.
Yeah. Somebody put Demon Souls into Elden Ring.
Oh, my God.
This is the most Jeff story of all time. It was a modder that managed to put the Castle and Boletaria 1-1 from Demon Souls into the Elden Ring engine, and whether they like recreated it or what, there's like a video online that shows them just like running through, and it doesn't have all the right like textures, and it doesn't have all the right enemies or anything like that, but it is kind of interesting, the idea of just like, yeah, you know, you got a thing that it can be used to build castles, so you put the castle from Demon Souls into Elden Ring, and it's like, I don't even know what to think about that. Like,
it's like an exhibit thing. Hey, Jeff, I heard you like Souls games.
Right.
So put your Souls game in your Souls game.
Right. If they're going to do that, they should have put Kingsfield in here instead. But yeah, it's very strange. I recommend everybody go look it up. Just put an Elden Ring. I guess that's how you know you've made it on the internet, is when it's like, yeah, we're putting your shit in other games. Like when
100%.
That Halo map that was based on the crumbling Farum Azula from Elden Ring.
Or how Waffle House ended up in Halo.
Yeah. Well, after that person knocked that chair away, I mean, you know.
Yeah, that had to be done.
And last but not least,
that's the next mod for Elden Ring, Waffle House.
Somebody did a Dead Space remake.
Ooh. Oh, I heard about this, actually.
Isn't like, it's not full, but you can actually download and run it. It's a little strange. It feels like it's a little too sharp for like a PS1 style thing. Like, I normally expect a little bit lower resolution stuff from my PS1 demakes.
Well, that's the hardest thing about demakes, is that somebody ends up they don't know the right balance, because sometimes they'll overdo it and make it like impossible, and then sometimes they'll make it like this where it's just the game but everything looks very weird.
But it is available for download, so, and that's it. We finished it. We did another podcast.
We did it, guys.
It was a strange one.
And the disclaimer is no American McGees were hurt during the making of this podcast.
You shush. I'm going to make you watch that Final Fantasy 16 thing again.
Never.
Michael, tell the fine people on the internet where they can find you when you're not over here slandering the good name of American McGee.
Sorry, that got me real bad. You can find me on thebellalostsouls.net. I do their video game articles every Monday through Friday. You also can find my Super Mario movie review on oneofus.net.
Okay. And you know where to find me because you're already here. But hey, if you like this show, patreon.com/RageSelect. I don't normally ask people to go there unless it's down a little bit. It's down a little bit, so I'm asking y'all to go there. It does take money to run RageSelect, including the time it takes for me to get all this shit together. So, yeah, if you got a few bucks to spare, I swear to God, it'll be worth your time. You'll get bonus videos, you get Discord access, you get all that stuff. Give it a shot. And that is the last thing I'm going to say because I'm done. I'm done. I was going to try to make another butthole joke, but I'm too tired for that. I'm going to go lay down with my Gatorade, go to sleep. Get out of my house.